now. Voila. Recording is going through, by the way. I'm going to turn my mic up a little bit, too. Alright, so whenever you're ready, Ken, by all means, go for it. However you want to start, and then, I'm ready. Another thing. Make this clear. Do you want to do only manga only, or manga and anime? I'm just asking that because, like, I don't want it to be like, let's say one of us is using anime or manga, and then
honestly,
like an issue, and then we're like, and we have to either argue whether or not if it would be okay or not, so.
That's fine. Honestly, as long as it's canon and you're not going off like some fanfic stuff, I don't care.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Because like, there's movies, novels, anime.
Everything's good except if it isn't like fan made. So like, obviously,
Okay, so everything's good, it's just not fan made bullshit. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I absolutely
anything
agree.
that isn't
fuck fan made. What the fuck? Like that. You're talking about like that. I don't know if you've seen it. Like that one thing where Obito and Itachi fought, and it looks real, but it's not.
Yeah, like obviously, like okay, if it's obviously meant to be taken as official material, like obviously the Chibi series probably not.
Okay, I'm just making sure what you meant by fan made too. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
It just has to be within a reasonable amount of officiality, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. No problem. What's it called? By all means, then. All right. So basically, anything goes in a nutshell. And
yeah, I only have manga-related stuff at the moment, but
yeah, that's fine. I'm just making sure, like, just in case if you were using anime, or if I were to use anime or manga, like, I'm just because like I said, I know. I'm just saying, like, the way I don't know, it's just weird. The way the Naruto community is, like, people just only like to make it manga only or shit like that. So I don't have a problem, like, just making those demands right off the whip, but some people don't make those demands, and then when something happens, or people are trying to formulate the arguments, they're like, "Oh wait, why are you using this or this? That's not can Then it's a whole fucking can of worms. Yeah.
Arguments, and they're like, "Oh, you can't allow that."
Yeah, so just to like make things more concise and simple, and that's why I was just making that clarification first. So
yeah, I'd rather not limit you. If you have good arguments via another way, then I'd rather see it.
Yeah.
Because then I can this is so I can get better. So.
Yeah, like I said, I don't care either or. I was just asking overall. That's fine. Okie dokie, but no, whenever you're ready, man.
Sorry about that. I'll go first. So I would like to scale speed first, if that's cool with you.
Yes, sir.
So. Actually, so I'm going to be posting in Arkham City debate scans.
Okay. Just really quick, guys. For if I were to post this on YouTube or not, I don't know. I'm gonna send it to Ken either way. So he'll have it. But if I do, make sure to I'm gonna put his YouTube in the link in the description down below. Make sure to check him out. Subscribe, like, you name it, the whole 9 yards. Give all the love and support, goes a long way. This is Ken, by the way. You guys know who I am, so. And we're going to be debating Kushina versus Minato. I believe it's only base Okage Minato as well, not KCM or anything. Or no Sage Mode either. Like, I don't know how you feel about that, Ken, but just base,
I was
right?
thinking just base Minato with what he usually goes with.
Yeah, like what he's normally showing when he fight. Okay, perfect. That's not a problem. I feel you on that. All right, yeah, so no Sage Mode, no KCM shit, just base to base.
Anything that he can reasonably do. So maybe if you could argue like he can substantiate the Sage Mode, maybe. But anyway, we can get into that later.
Okay. I was just making sure because I wasn't gonna like throw an okie doke. That's why. Like I wasn't gonna be like, oh, he also has Sage Mode. And then you're like, wait a minute. Like I thought we were just doing bait. You know what I mean? So.
It's fine because realistically, I have an argument for something for a Kushina mode as well. But
okay. Another thing to understand. We're really just clarifying really quick, guys. Because like I said, I don't want any confusion. I'm trying to make this as fair as possible. Does Kushina have the 9 tails in her, or she does not have the? Or you're like,
it's the live Kushina, so she has the 9 tails.
Okay, so she does have the 9 tails. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd find it boring if we went with like a non-9 tails Kushina, since technically that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But maybe if you went with like 5.
The reason why I was asking that is because I from what I heard like back then that you were like referring to some things that she's done when she didn't have the 9 tails, so that's why.
Oh no, that's fine. It's fine because her stats really shouldn't change all too much from with or without 9 tails.
Okay, cool.
Outside of the parameters that I'm about to put down anyway, but
No problemos. All right, but now we're good to go then, and let's run it.
So if you look in Arkham City debate scans, you'll see that that's a Kushina able to intercept the Ninetales before Minato's able to.
Okie dokie.
This is impressive because this Kushina, she had just given birth. Giving birth usually puts women in a position where they can't even move for like days up to like a month or so.
Yeah.
And she just had the full Ninetales ripped out of her. This is something where only like half the Ninetales being ripped out of Naruto was enough to instantly kill him. So these are two things that should stop someone from moving altogether.
Yeah.
And she's still fast enough to outspeed Minato. So her speed will just be quicker.
Okay. All right. And so my contention with this is the main thing. It is impressive in a sense, but my problem is the fact that when it comes to her doing this is kind of like an inconsistency. Technically, that's what my argument's going to consist of. Because when she first loses the Ninetales from Obito and it's extracted, like she can't really do anything. Like, you know, she's kind of fucked and everything. And then when like the Ninetales goes to kill her, like Minato has to save her with just a body flicker. And then she's like, "Hey, you have to like defeat that man, blah blah," and he gives him like the death stare, and then teleports away with flying Raijin. So like you have that moment, and then there's another moment as well, to where she gets back there again, and like to where here let me pull it, 'cause I believe there's a second moment. I could be tripping. Let me check it one more time. It's either just that one moment, and she had to be saved. But basically, what I'm saying is, it was either once or twice. I don't think it was 3 times, but it was either once or twice, and she couldn't do anything, and Minato was able to do something. So, meaning therefore,
I know the one moment that you're talking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I know the one moment you're talking about. When Minato comes and he gets her away from Obito. She was chained up at that point in time, and again, she had just given birth, so she was just at a point where she couldn't really move, and the seal was currently being broken down, which was just heavier strain on her body. Mm-hmm. So it's not that she couldn't; it's just that she was under so much physical pressure that she couldn't physically move.
Yeah, no, the moment I'm referring to is when she's not changed up and everything, and she's like on the ground, and then Obito's like, "All right, this will be fitting for you. Die by the Ninetales." And then the Paul comes, yeah, and then she couldn't move or anything, and then Minato has to save her. And the only reason why I'm saying that's like relevant in a sense is because like when we get to the moment where like baby Naruto is being attacked, she does get in front, and Minato's second place. But the issue though is the fact that when she does that, it's the same conditions are still applying. You know what I mean? Like she still like just did childbirth. Technically, the longer time passes, the more weaker she's like getting in a sense as well. You know what I mean? Like so, like
yeah.
Even if we go along like the formality of like, oh well, she couldn't really do anything at that point in time because like she just got the Ninetales taken out, or childbirth is not. Like she was still able to eventually move again afterwards, while technically she's getting weaker in a sense. We can't really quantify, but we know she's more likely getting weaker because normally when a tail beast is extracted out of a Jinchuriki, their body. If you're an Uzumaki at least, if anybody else, you're dead instantly. What's it called?
Well, not really, because Naruto had the same thing pulled out of him, and he technically would have died instantly if it wasn't for Sakura.
Yeah. Like, well, he didn't like die instantaneously. Like Sakura was.
Oh, I mean,
but he was.
Yeah, I'm saying he would have.
He was a monkey as well. So that was like one of the main reasons, and I believe that was even stated in the war too as well. I would have to get that, but no, I get what you're saying. But with her, she's like purely like was a monkey, like red hair and everything. So she has so much life force and etc. You know what I mean? So like that's why she's not like dying instantaneously or even unconscious. You know what I mean? And then even Obito even remarks that and says like, "Wow, it's really impressive. You're Uzumaki or like have so much whatever blah blah." But yeah, no, that's all I'm saying. I'm gonna get my scans too for it.
Real fast, just to back it up a little bit. Here's also her. When Minato summons them, she's able to instantly like chain up the Ninetales and erect a barrier before Minato can do anything, as well. So just to back up my scaling, that Kushina would just have superior speed, even in this weakened state.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Sorry, I'm trying to be very polite because I already know they're kind of.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Just real quick.
Unironically, that's half my problem. I'm trying to be too polite. Are you talking about the moment like after the nine tails had been ripped out of her and she was laying on the ground after the chains had got removed?
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the chapter really quick so I can see everything and just get the context and make sure and everything and whatnot.
Oh no, that's fine. I just wanted to see if I could remember what you were talking about.
No.
If you want to do that, no skin off my back, obviously.
Yes, sir. Almost there, by the way.
I'm going to say this just for recording. This isn't even the worst of how ratty it gets. Wait till we get to AP.
Mm-mm.
I'll be honest with my ratty scaling.
No, I feel you.
But ratty doesn't technically mean wrong.
Oh, here we go. So I have it here. I just gotta look at something really quick, so give me a sec.
That's fine.
Wait. Come on, brother. Go down, bitch. Ha! Here we go. Alright, I'm gonna get this to... I'm just posting scans right now. I'm not saying I'm not gonna correlate my arguments just yet, because since we're doing basically like speed and whatnot in comparison between the two. So give me one momento.
Is that one of the moments you're talking about?
No. What I was talking about was with the whole Obito thing when he's attacking. This is just gonna be relevant soon. That's the only reason why I'm posting it.
Okay, that's fine. I was just concerned for a second. I was like, this doesn't help out too much. She was a kid then.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Kid Kushina was able to take out a beginning level student while in the academy with her bare hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. That was that's anime only, but once again, I don't have a problem with it because it's, you know, I don't think
I'm not
it's
using it as
canon,
like
so.
a
So you know, I'm just saying, like, I accept it. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying, other people, if they want to be dickheads or ratty, in my opinion, they could be like, "Oh, that's not canon. Only manga is," you know, some shit.
Well, I mean, I would look at them and tell them the same thing. I'm not debating anything with that. I'm just stating a fun fact.
Yeah.
I mean, you can refute my non-argument, but
Yeah.
then who's the asshole? You can't drink milk.
Facts. You know, it's nice to debate somebody that's not feeling threatened or intimidated. You know, just to debate, have fun. Like, it's really nice because 9 out of 10 times when I have to debate somebody, they're being like, you can just hear it. You know what I mean? The tone of their voice or just certain like behavioral patterns or whatnot, and it's like, bro, just have fun, bro. You know what I mean? Like, just debate.
Yeah.
Like, you don't like just. There's no reason for this to be so fucking toxically competitive. Like, you can be competitive. I'm not saying that, guys. For anybody that does watch this recording, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't be a dick being competitive. You know what I mean? There's a difference. You know. All right. So here we go. I'm about to get to business. Now what I'm pulling up, by the way, Ken, is what I was referring to and talking about, by the way. So give me one moment.
We'll make Loke watch this and make him judge it.
Bruh.
I'm excited for you to react to that video I sent you the other day. I think you'll find it amusing.
What video?
Why you wouldn't want teleportation.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna watch that eventually, yeah. You told me about that. Damn. I never realized that detail. I'm looking at a panel where it's like Obito just killed like these Anbu people, and there's like blood floating in the water. I'm like, God damn, bro, like, what'd you do?
Obito,
What'd you do to it? Like, yeah, like this is irrelevant from the debate. I'm just gonna send it for shit. Like, I'm like, damn, like, why'd you have to make him bleed like that? You could have just killed him so like peacefully. Look at this shit. Look what you did, and I'll delete it.
You could have done that to the Blood Mist Ninja as well.
Look at this. Look, you see that guy and you see the blood? Like, what the fuck did he do to him, bro? That man's bleeding out in water. It's fucked up.
I think he cut that man's head off. I think that's only the top of his head.
Like, the fuck?
Oh, no, never mind.
Anyway, I'm going to delete that because that's irrelevant. Alright.
It's only
I'm
irrelevant.
about to get it, by the way. Yeah.
That's fine.
Alright.
My current plan, get myself good enough so I can go beat 6 and swag.
Bruh. I remember all this stuff. This shit was so fire, though, Cam. It was so good. Anime, fucking, obviously it was more goated because it's animated. But even manga, it's just so good. It's such a good story.
See, this is why I want Minato to win, because we can get, like, Kid Kakashi and all that. We can get the White Fang. We can get more stuff with Kushina.
Yeah.
We can get, like, stuff with the other Kage, like the third Kazekage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many more events we can get with Minato than we would with other people.
Yeah.
And if it's popular enough, instead of doing, like, a mini-series, you can make it, like, a full-on, like, Minato thing.
Exactly. This is not the scan. I'll tell you once the scan comes. And like I said, we're going to go point by point. I know you have your points and you name it. I'm just kind of posting this in advance. This way I'm not having, you know, like I should have had this already. But, like, to be fair, like, I've just been so busy, dude. But
that's fine.
I'm just posting things that are going to be relevant for me to try to defend, scale, and blah, blah. Anyways, let me do this real quick. Alright, we about to get there now. Alright, so to the point that I was discussing. Okay, yep, there's that. Yep, he does that. Cool. Okay.
Okay, this is also unrelated to the debate, but that second panel from the post.
I can't hear you, Ken. You're gonna have to repeat that. Everything you just said went in and out.
No, that's fine. Somebody had tried to call me up. One moment.
I finally posted the scan that I'm talking about. The first thing, by the way. So let me know when you're ready.
Anyway, we'll pass just because I want to say this so I don't forget it. What's wrong with Kushina's neck in that third scan?
Third scan? Let me see.
From the one that you posted.
Where she screams Naruto?
Yeah, why is her neck... It looks like it's broken.
In a way, yeah. Yeah, like, yeah, I was draw. Yeah, it does. It just doesn't look like... Yeah. That's funny. But no, I posted this scan, so... if you want to recap, since this is like a bit of drag time that just happened, I apologize, guys, and everyone into Ken. Ken, if you just want to reconfirm what you said before, and then basically I'll get back to the scan I was referring to in my argument, the first point we're talking about.
My argument?
Yeah, just recap it really quick so everybody remembers or whatever.
For a recap, Kushina, when the Ninetales goes to kill Naruto, Kushina, after having the Ninetales ripped out of her, which normally instantly kills people, and having just given birth, so then that usually puts women in a position where they can't move for days, sometimes up to a whole month, was able to move so fast she was able to intercept the Ninetales before Minato.
Okay.
And earlier, she was able to erect a barrier and contain the Ninetales before Minato could even think to react to do so. So I just think she has faster speed.
All right. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And yeah, so in defense, guys, basically what I said before, I can't say it word for word, but in a sense, what I said is I feel like it's a little bit of an inconsistency. That's what my argument is. Main reason why is when it comes to the Nine Tails, when it goes to like strike at Kushina. This is the scan I'm referring to that I told him before. When the Nine Tails does his like strike and Obito makes him go kill, the Minato is able to save her right in time and then do body flicker, which is showing that he clearly has the speed to also intercept with the Nine Tails attacks and you name it. And remind you, what's it called? This is during the beginning where he has a lot more chakra and stamina, which I'll eventually get into that later. But he basically all I'm showing is he can replicate a feat to intercept with the Nine Tails as well, and he also saves Kushina. You know what I mean? And she wasn't able to do it herself, and that's basically what I'm saying so far. And then after that, I'll give my next argument on how this connects to why it makes it his point basically irrelevant in my opinion. Do you have
I do have I do have some refutations for that, if you don't mind. So I actually never said that Minato couldn't intercept the Nine Tails, because they both do in my scan.
Yeah.
The problem is that Kushina was just able to do it faster.
Yeah, she did.
And like you had said earlier, that Kushina, like when the Nine Tails is ripped out of you, you would just be getting weaker and weaker since you'd be dying.
Yeah.
So that would actually be a weaker one than the one you're trying to downscale. You would be downscaling now.
Gotcha.
My problem. Did you want to refute that, or can I continue on?
Yeah. So my refutation, what I was gonna bring up next, which is the following point, is the reason why it technically doesn't work in a sense is when she goes to like basically when she does that feat. This is kind of like similar to like reality in a sense as well. This happens in our world too. I could even pull up examples if Ken wants it to. I don't know how he's gonna feel about it, but what's it called? But whenever a mom sees their child, you know what I mean, like in danger, or if the child's in the car or whatever, like we've had moms where they get like an adrenaline, you know, like kind of like similar to a mental amp to a degree, to where they're able to do like crazy inhuman things even in our world, where they can lift up a car or do all other kinds of crazy shit to save their child, but then they basically get fucked up as an end result because their body did something it can't take. So basically in that particular situation, what it boiled down to is she had that similar trait. You know, her baby's about to get attacked and killed. So she kind of has like that mental, you know, adrenaline type of an amp. She goes to basically, you know, save Naruto, and she's able to get there before Minato. And the reason why Minato was late, even though in the scan that he posted, it's kind of shown that they do it at the same time, but obviously she's in front, which would give the indication she was there first. But the reason why that still wouldn't work in a sense is because, for one, I said the mom thing, but let's say you just dismiss that. Okay, Minato at that current point is like really, really exhausted as well. He's spammed like flying Raijins millions of times. I'm going to count how many times it was. But he's done that like millions of fucking times. Obviously, that's a hyperbole, not a million. I'm not meaning that.
I think he did it like 5 times.
It was like 13. I'll count it, but it was like 13 or 12. I can't remember.
I know there's the Biju bomb. He does it like 3-4 times with fighting Obito, and then he does it to teleport the Nine Tails, and then once for Kushina and them.
Yeah. So, but
maybe like 8.
Yeah, like I'll get the number just for shits and giggles for you guys if you're curious with the whole Minato. But anyways, the reason why I'm saying this is like he's spamming body flicker, he's spamming a flying Raijin. Then he does his big 9-tail ceiling jutsu to where it's able to absorb the tail beast bomb, and then he's able to transport it away with flying Raijin again. Then he also has to fight Obito at a brief moment in encounter, and he has to flying Raijin away. Then he has basically the fight with with Obito, and they're basically feeling each other out. He's using chakra to deal with him as well. He has to flying Raijin out of it again. So you have that. Then he does a Rasengan, flying Raijin, hits him with it. So he's using like a shit ton of chakra, and then after he does that, he does the seal on Obito as well. Contract seal to basically stop his connection to the Nine Tails, which also would be a requirement of chakra. Once he does that, then Obito retreats. He then teleports back to the village to deal with the Nine Tails to help Hiruzen, because everybody's freaking out saying, where's Minato, whatever. He summons Gambunta, which is requires a shit ton of chakra as well. Naruto as a kid didn't even have enough chakra to do that. Basically, like with his normal chakra, like he had to use the Nine Tails chakra, which is stated and with dry and everything. So like it takes a shit ton of chakra. He does it with his chakra alone. Summons Ganbunta, slams on him, whatever, and then he states verbatim that the bigger the object, the more chakra he has to use. So he teleports the Nine Tails and a Biju Bomb away while Ganbunta was holding him down. And then he basically, an explosion happens, okay, and I'm pretty sure Ken would agree with this, but it's very more logical that Minato teleported away from the explosion, you know what I mean, instead of tanking a full tail beast bomb from an eye. I think that's a little ridiculous. So, you know, he'll agree with that, but either way, he teleported away, then comes back to the Nine Tails. Kushina gets there. No. That's what he did. He teleported, I believe, I'll pull it up for integrity purposes as well, but he teleports back to Naruto and Kushina, gets them, goes back to the Nine Tails, and then basically, like, that's when all that shit kind of goes down. So basically, in a nutshell, because I know I've said a lot, but it's all important and correlates, is he's using a crazy amount of chakra. And what we do know is the more chakra you use, etc., you name it, the more fatigued you get, the more weaker you get. So even though he's extremely fatigued, and you know, he's still able to not only get there remotely at a similar time like Kushina, even though she was first, that's still really incredibly impressive. So there's that into consideration. And then before I move on, because that's my main point right there, I'm going to see what Ken has to say with that, what he thinks, whatever his refutations, and then I'll basically move on to the next points of why that's more solidified in that narrative and notion, that it's just more supported that Minato would technically be faster, but he was only not faster due to those variables.
Sweet. Can I go now?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Just didn't want to interrupt you.
No.
So I have nothing against the idea of her having a mental lamp, because as we know, all parents get a mental lamp when they see they would get the same thing when watching one of their kids or someone they love in danger. So realistically, any amp that you think Kushina would get, I think Minato would get as well. So I think that would just counteract that, and there's no reason to say it wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And although, yes, he is spamming the flying Raijin, summoning and all that, we do know point blank that the flying Raijin is part of his arsenal that he uses to fight normally. Would you agree?
Yes, yeah.
We do know that he once also fought and killed 1,000 ninja.
Mm-hmm.
Which means he would have had to use it a bare minimum at least 900. Assuming that he, like, even if we, like, I could say, like, maybe he used it like 500 times, assuming that he'd take out 2 ninja.
We know damn well he had to do it at least, like, we can't concretely show the number, but we know at least he did it a good amount of times, if there's that many ninja. So
I'm going to be generous and say for every teleportation, he takes out 2 ninja with a kunai. Of course, ninjas use chakra to enhance their body speed, so he'd be using chakra at that point in time as well, along with 500 uses of the Flying Thunder God as well, which is stated to be so powerful that it takes like 3 whole Joni just... It was 4, right?
Yeah. I was going to mention that afterwards, but yes, what's it called? It takes 3 Jonin to do the Flying Raijin just once, and it takes an enormous amount of chakra from them, because they can't do it by themselves.
So that would mean in that situation alone, I think he would be using just as much as he would have been doing here. And we know that he was fine at that point in time as well. So I don't think him being that much slower and all that would be a matter of him doing chakra.
Mm-hmm. Especially
when we take into the fact that... so would you agree that chakra is linked to your life force?
With the... Like, yeah, it technically connects to, in a way, into your life force, yeah.
So we take something like childbirth, which has heavily strained us on the body, and the Nine Tails being ripped out of her, which should have killed her. Kushina would have been at a point that she was so much weakened that I don't think, outside of Minato nearly killing himself via chakra overuse, he wouldn't have been nearly as fatigued.
No.
And if we take into the fact that they should have the same mental app, I think they should still be in relative situations, yet she's still able to travel a further distance quicker.
Okay. All right. And is that it, or just want to make sure?
Um, is there anything else that you had said that I am not remembering? Because that's about all I can remember.
Fuck. The main thing that I was mainly conveying, just to simplify, was just he's using a shit ton of chakra, like a crazy amount of chakra, which affects your stamina and everything. You name it, and can make you weaker. You know, you get fatigue. You name it. So that was like the main thing, which was basically connecting to the main notion that with those variables into consideration, you know what I mean? That's why he was like, instead of being first, he was only second. But it's still like remotely impressive to a degree because, you know, he's like not even at full power and he's able to still kind of match it in a way. You know, but that's basically all I was saying at that current point in time. And then once I move on to the next point, that will basically start to show more of the inconsistency why Kushina really just doesn't have that speed and Minato's just more faster.
That's fine. If there's nothing that you don't think I didn't address, then you can go on and continue on with yours. Then
Okay.
but I feel like I refuted everything you said.
No problemo. So the next thing, so basically what ties into this, because like I said, guys, we're talking about speed. So the reason why it just becomes more inconsistent in comparison. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is when Kushina is a kid. So when she's a kid, she gets kidnapped. Like what's weird is we don't really know the context or like behind the scenes. Like it's some off screen stuff that happens, but either way, she just gets captured by a bunch of elite platoon ninja. They're more than likely probably like tuning. I think it's a stretch to say they're fucking joning, but then again, like if you're gonna send your ninja from my other village to the Hidden Leaf, it would kind of make sense maybe for one elite joning, maybe like a low tier joning to be there, or maybe it's only just tuning and getting. I don't know, but either way, unfortunately, we don't have those statements unless I just don't remember. But I'm pretty sure I've read it multiple times and seen the anime multiple times. But either way, she gets captured by a platoon of ninja. They look, you know, like you can see the scan, like they're not like fucking kids or anything. They're, you know, like they're like adults or maybe teens. You know, so she gets captured and she was just kind of like using her hair or whatever to kind of, you know, be saved. And what happens is Minato, in this scan that's shown, Minato was the one that came and rescued her and rushed, you know, and basically saved her. So he was able to defeat all that ninja there. In the anime, it actually shows that scene. In the manga, it doesn't. It shows everything we're seeing right now with these manga panels I've posted. But in the anime, it actually shows him just literally like moving so fast and just one-shotting them all. Like he's just chopping their necks and shit. It was hilarious. And she was so out of it because she thought like her life was over. She's like walking like she's just gone basically. So like, but overall, what I'm trying to say is even at the point when they're kids, Minato narratively is shown to still technically scale over her, in a sense, because she wasn't able to deal with those ninja or anything. The best feat she remotely had was like against a Genin. You know, we know that concretely was a Genin, while Minato was dealing with either multiple Genins because they have a headband, or he's dealing with tunings, maybe highballing even a Joning that is there. So I just think it's remotely more impressive in comparison, which would kind of connect to the notion that Minato is, you know, just naturally scales over Kushina or is faster, whatever. But I'm going to let Ken attack that first, and then I'll connect it even further when we get to the whole Obito thing.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're good.
So the only problem I have, well, several problems. So you're using this to scale current Minato, but that in Kushina, the problem here being that was them when they were kids. We know that Naruto and Sasuke, when they first meet, Sasuke just like throttles like Naruto like no diff.
Yeah, bullies and shit.
Within the matter of like 3-4 years, that ends up inversing, and even like not even within that time period.
Yeah, he's able to catch up, and you know, yeah.
Within like, I'd say a matter of like a year, Naruto's able to get to the point where Sasuke is so insecure about the power difference.
Yeah, he gets greater than him at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes to Orochimaru.
Yeah.
So even if I were to take what you're saying now as, because obviously he was greater than her at that point in time. If I were to take this as take that all like that, it would mean that even within time span of like a couple of months, that dynamic could have easily flipped and stayed the same.
Okay. All right. And then the next thing I was gonna move on to, where that everything connects further, where it's just shown more narratively, that basically that notion is just further supported, is what I'm saying. So when we get to, excuse me. So when we get to this scan that I did, so this scan is showing Minato to where he's using a sealing jutsu to suppress the Nine Tails. So mind you guys, like this is just further on the whole thing beforehand with the amount of chakra and everything he's using. Like he's doing Nine Tail level feats, like full power Nine Tails, like he's suppressing it using sealing to keep it in there. Kushina is trying to give birth, so which obviously this would require chakra. So he's doing all this chakra to do that. Then he's spamming Flying Raijin, body flickers, then doing Raizingan, Gamabunta, teleporting a Tail Beast Bomb, then teleporting the Nine Tails and another Tail Beast Bomb. And it's stated, blah blah, you name it. Like, it requires more chakra the bigger the object. So overall, you have all this stuff, right? So that's I just forgot to mention that too, but that's kind of very impressive. But when it gets even more crazy, now mind you, at this current point in time, this is where Minato is like basically I'm not gonna say full power. I feel like it's I feel like it's okay to say he's a little bit more weakened since he was trying to restrain the Nine Tails the whole fucking time with his chakra and sealing jutsu. So he's not at full, but he's close to full, or maybe around there, whatever. Unfortunately, we don't have any quantification. But the whole point of this is Obito goes to kill Naruto, and Kushina screams Naruto. So mind you, this goes back to the whole thing of she's a mom, the adrenaline, mental amp, whatever. She didn't even move, or couldn't she doesn't do anything, but instead Minato's able to move and use body flicker and then save Naruto, and then he's able to do Flying Raijin to save him from the paper bomb shit, because he had to kind of freeze time in a way before he exploded, throw it away.
Before you move on from there, you mind if I refute that a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of my big problems with that idea is because, again, she had just given birth, so we could just argue that at least I'll just argue that she was in a position where she physically couldn't move again. Like, her body was still going through the shock and all that at giving birth. And we do know that the seal on her also just broke, or at least near breaking as well. We know that even with Naruto, that seal is so important to the point where if it's messed with even at all, you can't even properly use your chakra. Naruto couldn't even walk on water because of just his seal being messed with.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just figured I'd say something now.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. So the only counter I can say with that is basically I understand with her just giving birth and and her chakra could probably be all over the place, whatever, yada yada, but it's she doesn't do anything at this particular scene, but yet Minato is able to, and this, mind you, this is when he's remotely close to his full power, but there's still similar variables here. So she's when she did it with the whole, when the Nine Tails goes to attack and she gets in front of Minato, it was the same thing. Technically it was even worse because the Nine Tails was even extracted from her. You know what I mean? So so she does that and she's able to get in front or whatever. But see, the issue is she's able to do it there at in my opinion, in a weaker sense. Well, here she should be stronger, yet she couldn't do anything, or she doesn't do anything. So
well, that's why I'm saying her body is still just getting used to the shock and all that. It's kind of like when if you're in a fight and someone comes up to you and stabs you, yeah, you could still punch them, but your gut reaction is still to react to the knife being stabbed instead of anything else. So I think it's just her body reacting to the fact that she had given birth, and that's just what's holding her back.
Yeah, but then if that's the case, then why was she able to do it? You know what I mean? Eventually, and then another thing with that one scan before, when the Nine Tails goes to attack her after it's extracted from her, and she's huffing and puffing, she's looking, so she can clearly move her head, whatever you name it. She wasn't even able to do anything there.
For that one, it would be just the fact that her body at that point in time was convinced that it would have been dead, since we know how big the Nine Tail supply of chakra is. Naruto only had half of it ripped out of him, and it nearly killed him because obviously losing that, like Chiyo says, losing so much chakra just puts your body into shock. So I think she was, again, just in shock at that point in time, and once her body had time to adapt and get used, she could move again properly.
Yeah.
Not that she couldn't move at all, but just that her movement would have been extremely halted.
So, in a nutshell, basically, your main argument is that her body has limitations still. Like it's to a certain degree at that point, but then when she first gives birth, it's to like the max degree, meaning like she can't do anything at all, right? That's what you're saying.
Well, no, because like when she had the nine tails ripped off, like you said, like she's able to move her head and all that,
Yeah.
so she can still do like small movements, but it's not to like extreme
Yeah, yeah,
degrees.
yeah. So like, yeah. So at
And like
that
you
point,
said
it's a
earlier,
smaller
when
degree.
she
Yeah.
yeah, I like what you said earlier because I'm agreeing with them both having a mental lapse since they're both the parents of Naruto and want him to survive.
Yeah.
That allowed her to access her full potential at that point in time,
So
which would still be highly hindered. And that full potential is fast enough to speed blitz Minato.
yeah.
Well, not speed blitz, but be faster.
So my only issue with that is, it's like, I get what you're saying, but like the problem is we don't have any like statements. We don't have any, anything to really infer that like she couldn't do anything like at the first time right after she gave birth, or we don't have anything to show like even though she's able to move her head, she still doesn't have full like movement or access of her body. For all we know, she does, and she just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think naturally, like I said, I don't think it's a natural like constant variable that she can do. I feel like there has to be certain variables in place in order for her to perform a feat like that remotely. And that it's just inconsistent. That's what I'm saying. I feel like there's equal possibility that that's not the case and that she can, but she just couldn't. So like she's only really able to do it when it comes to like Naruto being threatened again, and then she's able to do it and she's there first, etc. But that's just my thing. But I'll let you explain on that, Ken, and then we can go to the next thing if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. So realistically, the only thing because under that rule, we would have to have statements for everything.
Yeah.
That said, here I'm actually just using deductive reasoning. Again, we know that when women give birth, they generally take like days to months to fully to recover to the point where they can even like move properly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something because we know Kushina gave birth. Obviously, that's the birth of Naruto.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to say that wouldn't affect her body similarly,
Mm-hmm.
And we know that when Jinchuriki have their tail beasts pulled out, you look at like Gara, all the other like Fu, I can't think of the other names. All of them when they're even like Naruto, like when their tail beast is pulled out, they just die. Kushina not only was able to survive this, no, she was able to survive this, but I think that surviving something like that would still have highly the levels of consequences on the body to the point where it should limit it to a bit because of the physical trauma and all that, losing all that chakra, which again, as I said earlier, and you agree to, it's used to boost your speed. So I think that just would have damaged her body. It made it harder for her to move at all.
Okay. All right. And then, so if we move on to the next thing too, and this is all pertaining to speed, by the way, guys. So when we move on to the next thing, basically, another thing I will say, like I said, just narratively, that it's like consistently shown for Minato to be just more over Kushina regardless. So,
do you want to conclude on each point, or do you want to just move on to the next one when we're done?
So yeah, like we already like we're just going like point by point right now. So
I'm just asking like when we get done with like the speed point, do you want to do a conclusion on why we think we got it? Or...
Absolutely, yeah, we could definitely do a conclusion for once we're done with speed. Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. You can continue on. Sorry.
No problem. But so what I'll say next, correlating to speed. So basically, another thing as well. With everything we've basically discussed so far. When we get with Minato, when it gets towards the end, like I said, let me do this real quick. Actually, before I even say what I'm about to say, let me do something real quick for you. One momento. Okay, so, yep, 9 tails. So I'm just gonna. Oh shit. Give me 1 second. I apologize. Almost done, Ken. Would you still be down to do some grounding right after, or no?
You know it.
Okay, just want to make sure. I'm almost done, by the way. I'm just getting some conversation this way, getting too quiet.
No, it's fine. Now, if it makes you feel any better, it gave me time to give these cats water and food because they keep trying to drink milk.
Bruh.
Yeah, I'm actually excited about that because, again, I kind of overdid it with the whole base thing.
Really?
Yeah. On the bright side, you now have your own actual room.
Mm-mm.
Got you a grandfather clock in there and everything.
Nice.
Because, again, my other profile, I have like 700 plus days in there. And I've been slowly like honing my building in it, so I figured I might as well have fun with it. But it just taught me to like overdo it. I think I accidentally stayed up like an extra like 6 hours that day doing it.
Gotcha.
Oh, I can now also reliably kill wolf spiders.
Bruh. Fuck them things.
But now I can basically just stand in front of them as a meat shield to get them low and have you come in and get your killing hit. Get you up to your level 3 methodism. So you get like the 75% immunity to poison.
Gotcha.
Because once you do that, it doesn't matter what they do to you, because as you know, that poison really won't wreck your day.
True.
They're like the
strong as shit.
They're like the spider version of sorcery. Except they have the weakest poison in the game, and it doesn't paralyze you.
Exactly.
But yeah, wait till we see the Black Widows in that game. They resist everything. I did say Black Widow, right?
Yeah. You said Black Widow.
Yeah, they're faster than the wolf spiders. They're poison. They don't have poison. They get venom, which works deadlier. And they resist all attack types. And
About to finish, by the way. Just making sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yep, okay, that's what it was.
Gil's already trying to debate someone on something.
Debate who? He's about to lose
I think
again.
It's Joshua. Looks like he's trying to debate Toneri versus Jubito or Toneri versus Base Momoshi.
Gotcha.
So I'm guessing he's going for Toneri.
Hey, it'd be like that.
Oh no, it's the other way. He's going with. He thinks Jubidara could beat Toneri.
Yeah, no, Minato would get clapped.
I like Obito and Jubi Obito is pretty cool, but I don't know how he fights someone who can fight KCM 2 Sage Mode Naruto. Like what does Jubito do when Tsuneri puts his hand on him and rips all the chakra out of his body? Like I think he can also redirect chakra based attacks as well. The Tensagon's kind of broken, not gonna lie. Oh, I see. You're just showing off your colored scans over my non-colored ones.
It'd be like that, bro.
Sorry, I'm not cool. Real fast. And realistically, I could be wrong on this. I'm just going to say it just for the sake of saying stuff. But I'm going to predict that the last scan you posted is you showing that Minato's low on chakra.
Yeah, that's all it was. It just connects to everything before. Well.
Okay, sweet. That's fine. I looked at it. I figured I knew what you were talking about. I have a counter for it.
Okay.
I don't know how well the counter's going to work, but I have a counter.
No problem. Almost done.
Well, okay, it's going to have fun with this one.
Real quick. Alright, making sure. Yep, that's it.
Well, occasionally watching this, he's going to be like, I don't know what part to judge and which parts not to judge.
Be like that, bro.
And he's going to question why I'm bringing up his name so much. I want to see judge a debate just for the amusement of it.
Yeah.
Weeb.
Bruh. Okay. This is important too. Alright, so what I'll do here, so this way we can eventually solidify on speed and get this over with. And then move on to whatever's next. So basically, the first scan I sent. By the way, like this is just a little bit backtracking. If he's gonna provide his refutation for the scan as well. But just so basically, what I'm showing with the scan and conveying is when it comes to. So basically, what happens? Minato does a shit ton of fucking chakra usage. So just to solidify the fact, he's suppressing the Nine Tails for a very good while during the whole childbirth thing, which takes chakra using a seal. He does body flicker to save Naruto once. Does a flying Raijin after once. Then another flying Raijin, so that'd be 2. Another flying Raijin, that's 3. Body flicker to save Kushina, that's 2 for body flicker. Then another flying Raijin, that's 4. Another flying Raijin, that's 5. Seals a bomb with a teleportation barrier and then teleports it away. So, like, he does the seal thing, which goes to a shit ton of chakra for a full power Nine Tails bomb, and then teleports it away. So there's all that chakra. So, and then he fights Obito, does a 5th flying Raijin, then a 6th flying Raijin, and then fights Obito again, 7th flying Raijin, Rasengan, places a sealing mark on Obito, 8th flying Raijin, places a seal contract, what's it called? Basically, to separate the Nine Tails and everything. All those things do chakra, by the way. Flying Raijin for the 9th time, if I'm even remembering my numbers. Summons the frog. Then teleports the Nine Tails and the bomb away, and he states verbatim that the bigger the object, the more chakra it takes. And then he does a flying Raijin away from the explosion. Flying Raijin to get Kushina and Naruto. Then flying Raijin back to the Nine Tails. And mind you, when he does that, That's when it comes to this scan where he says, I've got to erect a barrier right away, but not much chakra left. So basically what he's saying is that he could still deal with the Nine Tails, that he could do a barrier and restrain the Nine Tails or whatever, and then go forward and start doing the Reaper Death Seal, because that's the whole point of him bringing Naruto and Kushina as well. And then Kushina says, I can still do it, Minato. So she helps, she does her chains. And then while the scans continue on, Minato's placing Naruto on the thing. Okay, the Nine Tails gets pissed. He realizes what's happening. And the Nine Tails goes to strike again. And remind you, Kushina starts coughing out blood. And so Minato looks over to her with the exclamation mark. And he's like, Kushina? And she's staring in front where Naruto is. So when the Nine Tails goes to strike, he doesn't see the strike when she does. She's the first one to see it. So meaning she'd be the first one to react to it accordingly. And then Minato acts like right after, you know what I mean, as a follow-up, which would explain even more why he was in second place to first, even though he was like basically getting there at the same practical time. The anime also confirms that as well. When they both move, they're both like basically right there, but she's in front of him. So the fact that he was still able to get there remotely at a similar same time, but she just got there a little bit faster to where she was in front instead, is extremely impressive, because she noticed him while she's coughing up blood, or not, or whatever, either coughing blood or just exhausted, whatever. And then he's focused on her because she's coughing. That's why he literally says Kushina, and that's when he does the strike, which would explain why she was able to get in front instead. Because if he was looking instead or whatever, he more than likely would have been in front. That's basically what I'm trying to say, and that's further solidified with the fact that since he's used all this chakra, he's not at full power, you know what I mean? That's why, you know, that kind of just connects even further, basically, you know. But that's basically my whole thing with this whole scene. That's why I do believe it's an inconsistency for Kushina to be faster than Minato, and he's just shown to still be faster, or better yet, he has saved Naruto as well while she couldn't, you name it. And that's basically overall what I'm providing for this main scan, these two scans here. So, go whenever you're ready, Ken, go ahead.
Okay. So for one of the points, because you said that she was looking at the attack, she's actually not. She not only is she coughing and looking at the ground, but the Nine Tails is behind her. So unless she has the Byakugan, she's not looking at the attack. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Another thing. So if I scan, I'm sorry, I'm trying to say this in such a way it doesn't sound mean. Mm-hmm. Minato says, "I've got it to erect a barrier right away," and then he says he has not much chakra left. When you look right under that, Kushina says she still can. And he says it in such a way that it would infer that she's also low on chakra as well. So again, like you've been saying this whole time, they'd be in a similar situation. But not only does she restrain the Nine Tails, but she's also able to create a barrier that not even the third Hokage can get through. Which I think is another point there, because it's not like he's just trying to create any barrier. He's trying to create a barrier strong enough to contain the Nine Tails. So I don't even think he's necessarily saying like, oh, he's like extremely low on chakra. Just that for the barrier that he needs, it would just take more chakra than he can use at that point in time. Okay. Any conditions so far?
No. I think you said what you had to say. I said what I had to say with these two scans. What's it called? If that's basically it, we can basically keep moving forward.
Yeah, I'm real fast before that, just so people can understand what I'm saying. I actually posted a scan that's at the bottom of yours, where even shows that like the third Hokage gets there.
Yeah.
And he tries to get in there, and he just can't, which shows that Kushina, not only was she able to withstand the Nine Tails while under low chakra like Minato is, but she was able to create this like Kage level barrier, which even the third you can't even break through.
Gotcha.
Which we'll get into the next point.
I forgot to mention this before. When this whole scene of the Nine Tails happens and everything, and he's about to strike, Minato also sealed half the Nine Tails in his body. So like he's dealing with like he literally, here, I'm gonna put this, I forgot to mention this was before, so this even helps like Minato even further of why Kushina was able to get.
We talk about that later. I actually do have some points on that anyway.
Yeah, not a problem.
Unless, so like, this has something to do with speed, but
yeah, so like with the whole, like I said, with everything I've said before, all the things he's done, you name it, he then seals the Nine Tails. And then he says in the bottom, my body's going numb, so I can't believe how heavy his chakra. And you know, everybody's talking about it, whatever. So like his body's going numb. Like, mind you, he's getting extremely fatigued, low on chakra, which would equate to you being able to be, you know, at your full power and whatnot. He does all this basically, and now he's getting like this side effect as well from just sealing a nine tails. So that's also something to do with that, which can, you know, kind of be as a reason why Kushina was able to get there in front anyways. And in my opinion, makes it even more impressive that he was still able to get there relatively basically at the same time as her, because, you know, it wasn't like she gets stabbed and then he eventually gets there. It's like they literally both get there remotely at the same time, but she's just there a little bit faster, which is why she's the first one impaled and he's behind.
To be fair, she did have to travel like twice a distance.
But let me see.
If because technically, if you wanted to say,
yeah, like I see what you're saying. Yeah, like she's a little bit, like away, but like it's just, once again, like I already explained before, but I just feel like that's more supported with her seeing what's in front of her. Like she's coughing, but she's clearly looking for, like, even if you look above from reading right to left, right after Minato places the baby, she's looking forward, and she's like, whatever.
The nine tails is behind them. The nine tails is in front of them. You can tell by the angle of the finger. So one, she's coughing up blood, so her head is down anyway, but she's also in front of the nine tails, so there's no way she sees the attack. I think they're both just working on, because like here the nine tails declare like he's not going to be sealed inside of a baby, so it's just reasonable for them both to say, oh, he's going to attack Naruto. That's the easiest way to not be sealed in a baby.
Yeah, no, I get you. But that's...
dead babies can't be sealed.
Yeah. But no, that's all. Like, I don't know. That's just my take on it. To where she's looking forward, he's not. He's focused on mainly her. Then shit's about to pop off. She acts and he acts. He's delayed. You know, you name it. And then with all the other factors I said before and etc., that's just kind of why I feel like that happened. But anyways.
The new point was put down. Would you mind if I react to that, and then we can move to conclusion on speed, and then move to like AP or something?
Yeah. I do have another thing relating to speed right after. But what's it called? We can do that point. That's fine.
I'll just wait for you to say your last
I really wanted to hit and nail like the semantics of all this shit and kind of go over, you know, context and variables, whatever, for why things are happening, because that's important. And then to solidify the fact with the whole speed, how Minato should be over Kushina base to base. Then I would just do that right out. But that's why I was kind of trying to hit all this and nail, because this is all the weird shit basically. So
yeah. So fine. Then I'll just hit this point, then you can go that, and I'll review it. Then we'll do conclusions if you're okay with that. Then just so it doesn't go too long.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, this would be a similar like inverse to what happens to Kushina, where yes, his body would be going numb and all that because of all the chakra and all that, but that would also be a plus positive for Minato as well, because he would be getting half the nine tails chakra added to him. Like with Naruto as a kid, even if you can't fully utilize the chakra, like having like even like a small percentage is enough to like increase you to like insane levels. Like Naruto goes from like a guinea who can barely fight like Sasuke to being like able to like tag Saku and like one shot him, someone who's like stronger than Kakashi.
Mm-hmm.
So this would still be like, I think it would be an amp Minato based off the fact he has the nine tails now.
Gotcha.
Even if he can't fully use its chakra.
The only reason why I don't agree with it being an amp, I'll post this scan just to kind of follow that through, but mind you guys, he's using the Reaper Death Seal, which basically fucks up your body and like, you know, it's giving you like severe side effects. And even though he does get the nine tails in there, like he says, oh, my body's going numb, so he's not like implying it's a good thing or anything. It's more of a negative, you know, citation to where he's like, oh fuck, this is kind of shit, you know, whatever. And we know he's extremely low on chakra and fatigue, because he states as before. And with the nine tails, I don't think it can be an amp. Main reason is because normally if it's an amp, like he should be healing, or he should be saying like, oh, well, now I got more chakra for nine tails. Whatever. He never indicates anything like that. So I don't, you know, possibility wise, I don't think it's amping him. I think it's doing the opposite effect and kind of making it a little bit more harder for him to do what he got to do and survive. And then it's just a more solidified with this scan as well. To where I'm posting it right now, and then Ken can respond to that too. But to where basically here, he's like, Kushina, I'm not going to last much longer. I'm launching the 8 sign seal now. You know, so I can put some of my chakra inside Naruto too. And also, mind you, the first time he sealed the Nine Tails into his body, he also sealed Kushina's chakra into Naruto too. He does her chakra into Naruto and his chakra. But anyways, you know, but either way, with him saying this and whatnot, like if the Nine Tails is really amping him overall or helping him, like he just doesn't give any of that notification. It's just the opposite, more negative statements. And then with this one saying he's not going to last much longer, I just don't see how it would be of an amp. But that's just me, though. It's my interpretation.
That's I'm sorry. Can you remind me what the second scan showing?
The one before it.
The last one.
The last one. It's just him using Reaper Death Seal, and then he says like my body's going numb. I can't believe how much chakra how heavy his chakra is. And the only thing I didn't say as well, just to add to that, like when you first get the Nine Tails chakra, doesn't necessarily mean you can be able to use like its capabilities and traits either. Like, you know, that's kind of a whole thing too. And then with the whole seal thing, like we do know it takes like a long amount of time for the seal to weaken over time and things like that too. So you have all that, but either way, I'm just putting that out there.
And that's fine. So the thing with it is, I can't imagine because Minato isn't planning to use too much of the Nine Tails chakra, like even at all. So I don't think he's necessarily using like huge amounts of it. But we do know when you're a Jinchuriki, the Nine Tails chakra is passively put into you. So I do know that we do know that realistically we could argue he's getting at least a little bit of a chakra boost from that.
Yeah.
Which is why he's saying like he can't last longer because his own actual chakra supply is like going down. At that point in time as well, Kushina is also still able to hold down the Nine Tails, and was even to the point where she was going to be able to drag it in. But at this point, I feel like we're going outside of speed, so we can conclude on speed, and then we can go into like AP or something.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I was gonna bring up is just solidifies the fact that Minato should be like the fastest, and nobody should be in that ballpark with him or anything like that. Let me get this and post this really quick.
Do you want to conclude first, or?
I'm not concluding just yet. I'm doing one more scan. It's with Minato's speed and everything. No, you're fine. This is not relevant to all this. Like I said, I just wanted to get all this stuff kind of knocked out first. Let me get this. I could have sworn. Let me see. Am I tripping?
No.
Okay, I found it.
I want
got
you
it
to.
here.
Sweet. Sorry, I was going to try and talk to space out some time.
No, you're good. I just found it.
Hey, yo, Batman.
You.
Wait, so I was watching Noodle's video, and I read through every single comment because, you know, I was bored. And I found Cho comment, and, like, are you actually planning on, like, making a video talking about, like, Noodles and the stuff he did?
Yeah, to a degree, eventually, yeah, it's gonna be I haven't done it yet. Because, like, throughout all those videos that are being posted, because not all of it's done yet, because they're all gonna have parts. That's gonna give a lot of information for people when it even comes to Noodles and whatnot, and the whole surf bone shit, you name it. But there's just certain things that I'm aware of and know, and I just kind of wanted to put in the light for everybody to kind of just put into consideration. the end of the day, I don't really truly care for it. No matter what, he can still change as a person. He can do whatever. But it's just, the whole thing was with Seth and what he did and how evil he is, blah blah. And then you have all these other people that also did really stupid shit, said things or evidence out there, recordings, you name it, etc. of what they've done. So it's just kind of weird the whole justification of only one individual and not kind of apply that overall to everyone else. You know what I mean? So I said, it's just more of a to show for everyone, but that's all. So I'm about to post a scan for you, Ken, by the way, my bad.
So this is unrelated, but I just thought of something really stupid. So when Minato gets brought as an Edo, could you say he's got a further nerf outside of the Edo nerf that part of his being would have put inside of Naruto's seal?
Say that one more time, Ken, my bad. Just to make sure.
So Minato sells part of himself into the seal with Naruto. So could you argue that Minato would have been further nerfed since he wouldn't have had his full being from being resurrected from the Reaper, since that part would have been in Naruto's curse seal?
Yeah, he does state that he's putting his chakra and Kushina's chakra to Naruto. That's what you're asking, yeah.
I'm asking if that would mean that the Edo Minato that we see later would just been further nerfed on top of his Edo, since he wouldn't have had his full chakra supply.
Oh, no. What he says when he says I'm putting some of my chakra to Naruto, he means like he's putting that in Naruto's essence to where if, this way him and Kushina are able to see him again in the future, which eventually happens. I don't think it's being like said to where like he like, he like is I guess the best way to say it, like, severely nerfing himself or to like a permanent.
I don't think it's a severe nerf, but like it would be a slight.
It's just him just giving some chakra, and we know chakra refills. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't go away permanently or anything like that. So all because he puts like a little bit of his chakra into Naruto doesn't mean like that's gone permanently forever. You know what I mean? Like it's just him giving whatever chakra he has and putting it into Naruto.
Okay, that's fine. Just random thought.
Yeah. That's just me. Like I don't know. Like maybe I guess you could you could even argue it, but like I don't know. That's just me. Anyways, let me do this. Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. Right, posting this. So this scan is like during the whole Raikage fight and everything. And I can get like data books to further collaborate on this whole notion and narratively everything and scaling too. But basically what the Raikage says is, he's like, Naruto's like, you're fast, old man Raikage. And he's not even like at his full speed either. He's in V1. And he literally says there's no shinobi faster than me ever since the 4th Hokage died. So basically meaning that like while Minato was alive, he was the fastest shinobi alive, and meaning that would also include Kushina. And then if you, I could. Do
we know if the 4th Hokage ever saw Kushina fight?
What's that?
Do we know if the 4th Hokage ever saw the Kushina actually battle?
Well, it's a possibility. Like she is from the Hidden Leaf. Like
but
possibility wise, like it's just like Raikage should be aware of everyone. You know what I mean? Like he's aware of the 5 Kages. Like they have like documenting information on all the ninja. Like it's literally further confirmed with them knowing everything about Sasuke, knowing things about Kakashi, his reputation, things like that. So like they should definitely be aware of Kushina because she also is like technically the host of the Nine Tails. So like it would be really weird for the Raikage to not be aware of who she is and whatnot.
Well, I'm sure he's aware of her, but my problem with that is like when he fought Minato, like he didn't even think Minato was that fast. So it's just
well, basically what I'm saying
underplay like people who he hasn't seen.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Basically what I'm saying with this narratively, it's just kind of shown consistently that Minato is always the fastest, and like even the Raikage believes it. Like he knows a lot of people. Like, I get what you're saying, like, has he ever, like, seen Kushina maybe fight directly? Like, I don't know. We don't really know. Like, I do believe it's a possibility that he more likely has because he has fought Minato several times, which is stated in the data books. And we do know Kushina can be with Minato at times, or whatever you name it. That is a possibility, especially if she's participating in the war, and things like that. So, like, you know,
I don't think she was. I think she had retired as a ninja by that point. Because we know that when Minato comes home, after talking to the Hokage, she's just in the kitchen doing stuff. So I think it's fair to say by that point she had already retired, like before the war.
yeah.
And we know that if had it been anyone else who said it, it probably would have been fine. But we know that the fourth Hokage has a problem of like really hyping himself to like these high like standards. So anyone who like blitz him, he would say like, "Oh, they must just be the fastest," and he just wouldn't really understand how fast everyone else is, because we know that B's able to match him in speed as well.
Yeah. So with the whole Kushina thing, like I said, with him seeing whatever, like that doesn't really, you know, like I said, it's just more narratively consistently shown to like Minato having this reputation as the Yellow Flash. Like, mind you, Kushina doesn't have a reputation or name like, oh, Yellow Flash or fastest ninja alive or anything like that. Like, it's not just the Raikage. Tsunade says it, Kakashi knows it, you name it. Like, he has a run on sight order. It's just, like I said, narratively it is further established that his main thing, his main stick is speed. Kushina doesn't ever have that same emphasis as him. So it's more in the possibility realm of things. It's further just proven and concretely shown that Minato is above when it comes to the even concept of speed to begin with. Raikage also admits it, and his whole thing is all about speed as well. And then not only that, with Kushina, I get the whole thing where she can maybe retire or whatever, but we don't necessarily know. All because she's in a house doesn't mean like she can't work as a ninja or do anything. Kakashi is a great example. Like, he's technically supposed to be retired, yet he still wears his headband, or he'll still come back to the village and do things, or, you know, help out or whatever, or you know, you name it. So, you know, like I said, she could still be evolved. I also do believe in the anime as well. It does further solidify the fact that she knows Minato's team, that she's talking with them and everything. I had to go back. I don't remember if she had a headband on or not, but
he does, because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But we could say, because we know that ninjas can go and come out of retirement as they want and as it's needed. Even like if you're a retired ninja, you can still technically do missions. Like Granny Chio is a good example of this. But I think any missions that she does from that point on are like special cases, so they need her.
Yeah, that's
and I don't think they needed her for the war, because they had Minato, they had Fugaku. Like, I think it was already such a stomp. They didn't need to risk sending out their Nine Tails and risk losing it.
See, the only reason why that's like weird though is because whenever there's wars and it comes to military strength, if a person is faster than person B or more dangerous than person B or whatever, normally it would make sense to have that person participating in the war. Like the first Hokage did it, Tobirama did it, Hiruzen did it. You know, so they're over here using Minato as like the backpack guy to like, you know, backpack the wars and basically solo, you name it, which was also narratively shown and proven. You know, like, all right, if Kushina is just as fast, or let's say faster or whatever, then why is she not being sent on the lines either? Why is she not being, you know, a crazy
again, like,
legendary reputation, you know? So
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you again, but again, that's why I think it's not a matter of she wasn't that powerful. I think it's a matter of she's powerful and has the Nine Tails, and they already had all these powerful ninjas who were on it that they had it guaranteed win anyway. So they didn't feel the need of risking their Nine Tails when they didn't need to. So it's like having like an ultimate weapon, but you know that like your like base moves are good enough. Like, you're not going to now waste your ultimate weapon just because you can. You're going to hold that for like when you need it. Like, it's your trump card kind of thing.
I don't know, man, because like even Naruto, like he has the Nine Tails, you name it, and he's still being used as like a
well, they didn't want him to go.
So
they didn't want him to go into war at first. Remember, like he like had to force himself into the war.
No, I know, but you know, once they reevaluated and thought and like how he would be useful as an axe, even like Shikamaru's dad, like they were like all up for it. Everyone changes their mind, and then not even that, even before Naruto was utilized, and he also had the Nine Tails Jinchuriki in him, and he was always being sent on missions, or he was literally like hand selected for missions because they knew with him having the Nine Tails and etc. or whatever, that he would be very crucial and critical for missions and success. So, like, I get what you're saying, but you know, it's just like once again,
you spit. I ain't gonna lie. Like you spit.
Like Kushina, she has the Nine Tails. You know what I mean? So like that's a very beneficial, like similar to Naruto, that she would have the same perks. You know, like. healing and whatnot, you name it, or if she gets pissed off, maybe, she go on a fucking 9, like I said, it'd be similar to that same basis to where Kushina, should be used technically even more, or just similar remotely to how Naruto is utilized.
Well, you see, my problem with that is the fact that because Tsunade has finds Naruto in favorable lights, and she knows that Naruto isn't going to accept the idea of doing nothing because he wants to be a Hokage.
Mm-hmm.
So why? So she knows she's not going to be able to keep him in the village. So instead of trying to keep him in the village, which is something she knows she couldn't, she'll send him on missions.
Yeah.
With a team of people who can protect him. And not only that, but she also really believes in him, so she doesn't believe that he'd fall into the enemy's hands anyway. Yeah. While you take Kushina, who, as an adult, would have been more relaxed, it would have been okay with taking back and relaxing for a minute.
Yeah.
And with people who probably didn't want her to go out, it would make sense that she wouldn't be sent out as much as Naruto, because he had himself the situation where he could. Well, Kushina wouldn't have.
Gotcha.
Like, Danzo's a good example, because Danzo had power at that point in time.
Yeah.
And Danzo's really big on being like, yeah, we can't just send out the Nine Tails. Like, if we lose that, we're out. So I think that's just further to prove, like, she could have been that powerful. But people higher up would have been, like, very hesitant about using her.
Gotcha. No, I get what you're saying, but what I will show, I'm going to show, are you familiar with Naruto Road to Ninja?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I'm not a big fan of it just because there's a lot, if you break that down, there's a lot of stuff that don't make sense as far as just the average stuff, but I'll allow it, obviously. Like we agreed early on, so... Okay,
not a problem. So I'm going to show a particular scene that kind of, like I said, just connects to everything we've talked about, you name it. And so basically, let me do this. I'm trying to get the scene for you. I do like a fucking fast ass edit. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture of this for you. So basically what's happening is like Minato and Naruto are like go to Mount Miyabuku and they're trying to like do some shit. I don't remember the story context, but they were there for a reason. And then basically like Kushina, she gets fucked up. But Minato's holding his own, he's fine. And then when she gets hit by one of the frog's abilities, Minato like teleports and does basically body flicker. And he just like catches her before she hits like the ground or anything. So like once again, it's just narratively shown that like she's just not really hanging with Minato, dude. Like he's normally, like I said, he's always the backpacking factor. He's always getting shit done, and he's always saving her. So
Road to Ninja is that one that's the alternate reality in Genjutsu, right?
Yes, it's when Obito does like the half-ass infinite Tsukiyomi thing, and basically it's all that kind of going on and whatnot, you name it. And
I just don't know how reliable that would be at that point. Not because of its canonicity or anything, but just because it was a Genjutsu the entire time.
So I get the Genjutsu thing, but it is stated verbatim by Obito that everything is exactly the same as their world. Like it's the same thing. So I mean, like that.
Oh, really? It's made similar. It's like a mirror image, but it's the idea that one change can have a rippling effect, and that ripple effect itself could be enough that it could have like massively like changed the power of like the characters around. Like even like someone like Hidan, who is a masochist who just wants to murder, it's just a muscle vampire who's willing to fight for good.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. There's a statement in there. I would have to look for it really quick. I know it's in there, but it literally says, like... Because I get what you're talking about. You're talking about the whole, like, speech he gives with Zetsu, I believe. But it's not even just that. It's, like, literally a statement. It's either by him or someone else where they literally state verbatim that, like, everything is exactly the same, etc. Like, it basically would be applied for, like, the whole scaling sense of how everyone is, you name it. Like, even when the Akatsuki come, like, Itachi shows up, and Obito still, like, runs away from him for whatever reason, you know what I mean? So, like, so let's say, like, I don't know, fucking, this is a Genjutsu world or whatever, or, like, I believe what you're saying is, like, they're not at full power, or it's questionable with, anything that happens or whatever. It's just, it's further kind of back with the notion, like, where Itachi is always kind of shown to be on a level, you know, or like some type of rivalry, like relationship with Obito. You know what I mean? Like kind of how they're shown in the manga and anime, and that's still replicated even towards in that movie. So like I don't know, I feel like it's just more consistently shown that like characters, you know, have remotely a similar scaling to what they're showing even in the other real world and like the manga and anime and blah blah. So
I don't necessarily think that's a scaling problem so much as Itachi just has tax abilities that are so ridiculous. Like Obito at that point in time didn't have to, like, it wasn't worth him trying to fight Itachi and his tax abilities. You know?
no, I know. I'm just saying like it's the same narrative initiative like as compared to the real world, and as even though you're saying like it's like genjutsu and all this other stuff, whatever, it's like in the manga and in the anime, it's narratively like supported and shown that Minato is like the fastest and yada yada yada, etc., and should be like above like all these shinobi and ninja. And then even in this, like he's doing like the same thing. He's still being shown to like, so it's like I say, it's just consistently shown on that narrative to where Minato is normally always above.
There's also the thing where if we were to do that as well, we know that Mondo was able to match speed with Minato as well. So Mambo, the evil Naruto, you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
The evil Naruto was able to match speed with like that Minato with just Sage Mode alone. So that alone would like just refute the idea that he's just always the fastest with somebody who's on his level anyway.
I'm not too sure what you're referring to exactly. All I do remember to a degree with that movie is like I forgot what happened, but like Minato and Kushina say something and they don't get involved for whatever reason. And then Naruto just goes to go fight the threat and just deal with him. So, but and then not only that, Naruto does the same feat that Minato does to Obito in the manga and anime, where he like throws a kunai and he does body flicker, but Minato does flying Raijin, and he like replicates that. So that's kind of like a narrative implication, similar like with Rock Lee and Sasuke when they fight Gaara. So like I get like even if like let's say I would have Steelman that and let that go, you know, through in a sense, it was still implying that like a level of that speed from like somebody like Minato would be just enough to deal with Menma or AKA Obito. So. But I get what you're saying. But other than that though, Ken, I don't really like. I could keep going all day, bro. Like I could show data books. I could show so much, what you name it. But I think we've done a pretty good job talking about speed overall. We talked about all the semantics and everything with the Nine Tails incident, whatnot. You know, we talked about Minato scaling. So, but yeah.
Hey, Batman, I got a question for you.
What's up?
All right, so I was thinking about like some part 1 Naruto topics I could possibly do for a video, and one of the topics I thought about, like it sounds good when you just like think about the name, but like when you kind of get into it, kind of seem oofy. But what's your opinion on like part 1 Itachi, strictly part 1 Itachi, so no like part 2 knowledge and feats or shit like that. Part 1 Itachi versus Kimimaru. Like, what do you think about that?
Is it healthy Kenmar or sick?
I mean, I was kind of just talking about the sick one since that's the only one we've seen.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily want to talk about like a hypothetical, like healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of was just thinking.
Well,
Itachi.
I would definitely say Itachi. Narratively and just feats alone, at least from what I know. Like, when it comes to sick Kenmaru, but. Yeah, I would definitely probably give that to Itachi. Like, he has Mangekyo, Susanoo, Mataratsu, Tsukiyomi, so... And he's...
I was saying, like, strictly, like, part 1 knowledge. So, like, like technically speaking, he doesn't...
Well, that's all that stuff, like... So, you are aware that, like, Rock Lee was, like...
Well, Ken, let him talk, because I don't think we're comprehending, maybe... Like, are you talking about Kid Itachi or something? Like, which Itachi are you talking about?
No. I'm talking about, like, Itachi...
Kakashi and Asuma.
Oh yeah, Itachi slams, no diff, in my opinion.
It's like the reason why
I'm saying, okay with holding on to this? We're in the middle of a debate, dude.
Yeah, that too. Like we're not even trying to be mean, bro. I apologize, but like, yeah, we were trying to finish.
I didn't know y'all was in a debate.
Oh, you're all good. Please hold on for a minute. We're kind of in the middle of something.
Yeah, man. We appreciate.
More than happy to answer afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that, though, bro. We're almost done though, so if you have anything, bro, we can chill and you name it. But yeah, no. Do you want to do conclusions, Ken, or do you have anything else? What do you want to do?
Are we concluding for the whole thing? Or are we?
Yeah, just overall. Yeah, just the whole speed stuff. Yeah. My bad. I'm over here tripping. Like this is the last thing. So this is really important. This connects to everything we're talking about, the whole Nine Tails incident. Basically the last thing is I don't even think like even like with like her getting like with the Nine Tails and she's like in front of Minato, whatever. One thing I will say, that was mainly driven and initiated because of Naruto as well. So, like, if it's a fight with Minato and Kushina against each other, Naruto won't be a variable there to give her that mental boost that she needs. And then, therefore, like, Minato should just be able to, just basically either kill her or just steal her. You know what I mean? And, like, he should still be way faster.
Yeah, but that goes both ways, because now Minato also wouldn't have the same mental end, which I believe in shown that he would get as well.
Yeah, no, the reason why, like, with everything I said before, Minato has like many feats to save Naruto, you name it, like without, you know what I mean, like he does body flicker, you name it, etc., and like even at that moment, like sure you could imply that he probably has a mental amp too or whatever, but like all I'm saying is like he still has feats consistently to replicate that line of scaling, like to dodge attacks from Nine Tails, to react to the Nine Tails, to save Naruto multiple times, you name it. Kushina only does it once, while Minato does it over and over and over. And
yeah,
if she's only shown to do it with Naruto as him being a concept to do that act, and Minato's doing that without Naruto present, therefore that wouldn't really necessarily work for in a 1v1 scenario.
I'll time out because again, because I'm not saying because she was able to intercept the Nine Tails she's faster. I'm saying because she was able to get in front of Minato she is faster. So the Nine Tails kind of is a non-compliant here. It could have been anything. Let it be like a rock or like the 10 tailers or like the 3 tails or whatever. It's the fact that she was able to react and get in front of him from like twice the distances.
We already talked about all that, you name it, etc., etc. So I 100% feel you. I'm just saying like that was technically the whole reasoning why that happened to begin with. That's what you even agreed to her, like her having mental of the mom thing. So like if we take that away, then that just wouldn't be a factor for her in a fight.
Well, I mean, because again, that was followed up with the idea that the mental amp would be a parent thing overall. I don't see why Minato wouldn't get a similar mental amp, considering that his father, that's his son, and he would want to protect him as much as Kushina would.
Well, no, but all right, yeah. So that's what I'm saying though. Like Minato has done those. Minato's done those feats without Naruto. That's what I'm saying. Like it's all posted. While she has only done that when Naruto is involved.
Well, she does it like right before Naruto is even in danger. She's able to react and seal, wrap up and break a barrier before Minato can. But again, that's for the audience and whoever wants to judge to decide. So.
Like I said, we already talked about everything before, all the semantics, without the whole context and scenery, name it, etc., etc., etc. So no, I get that, but I just want to put that out there just to see what you would say on that. But anyway, so we can do conclusions, and then if you want to go first, that's fine, or I can go. It's totally up to you.
That's fine. I'll go first just to get it done with. So, my scaling for it was I believe that Kushina would be faster, given to the fact that she's able to, under some of the most extreme things you can give a person, was still able to react to and get in front of Minato from like twice the difference to save Naruto. Mm-hmm. She's also, I can further back this up, the fact that again, she was able to completely wrap up and seal the Nine Tails movement and create a barrier before Minato even could. And I don't think there's any like good like anti-scaling for Kushina as far as speed and all that goes. We do know. Well, no, I'll just stop there because anything else is stuff we haven't talked about. Any idea of like a mental amp and all that? I believe if that is in play, Minato would have the same thing again. He would want to protect Naruto as much as Kushina would. So I think that covers the main points that we went over. You can conclude now.
All right. In conclusion, so basically just from everything we discussed, first thing we discussed, like I said, was obviously the whole component of speed. So we started basically dissecting Minato and Kushina with the whole Nine Tails incident and those scans that happened. I basically explained with everything with, how much chakra Minato is utilizing. Like, this isn't a full power Minato and everything. So he's spamming the flying Raijin multiple times, body flickers, suppressing the Nine Tails chakra with sealing jutsu, summoning Gamabunta, teleporting a Bichu bomb away. dealing with Ninetales attacks and, you know, moving fast enough and teleporting away from that. Does like a Rasengan, fighting Obito, flying Raijin with all that. Like, there's all this stuff. Then he also, you know, teleports the Ninetales as well and a Nethertail Beast Bomb. And he even states verbatim, like, it's like the bigger the object, the more chakra it takes. When he does all that, he's like huffing and puffing. He's like, I'm getting low on chakra, you name it. Then he does the Reaper Death Seal. Him and Kushina are there. What's it called? He's saving Kushina multiple times as well. What's it called? And then saving Naruto too. And basically with that whole scenery is like, you know, he's like, all right, I'm going to do like a barrier, whatever, blah, blah, you know, and then basically kind of insinuating that he can still do things to deal with the Ninetales and do whatever he's about to do with the Reaper Death Seal. Kushina basically says, no, I can still help, whatever. So she does her chains and whatnot, and it moves forward from there. And then basically, as like he's putting the baby down, we talked about the whole scene of like how, you know, Minato's looking at her because she's coughing and he's getting worried. So his focus was on her for that direct moment, and how she's looking forward at the Ninetales. So when the Ninetales goes to attack Naruto, it would basically create a slight delay for why Kushina could have more of a reason to be in front first, even though they both get there technically at the same time, which is really impressive for Minato. But that's why she would be in front. And then it also solidifies the fact that we discussed like them being compared together as kids narratively, to where she gets captured by these platoon of ninja, but Minato can deal with them with ease, effortlessly, and one-shots them all. We talk about basically with Minato, what was it? Oh yeah, he does the Reaper Death Seal as well, like twice, puts their chakra and everything, you know, and all that. He also, his body gets numb. That was another thing. Like, his body was like extremely numb, and he's like feeling more like, you know, handicaps, and that's like right when the Ninetales goes to strike as well. So you have that into consideration of why he wasn't able to be in front first instead of Kushina. But it's still, like I said, really impressive because he was there basically at the same time, just a little bit slower. So like I said, you have all those variables and context and semantics, and we went over all that. And I believe I won all those points, etc. You name it. The only other thing we talked about right after that is Raikage. It's just, once again, it's consistent with the narrative, to where the Raikage says, you know, you're a fat. He says, there's no shinobi faster than me ever since the fourth Hokage died. Basically saying, you know, the Raikage is aware of everybody. He's aware of, you know, he's literally like a fucking Raikage, okay? And he knows who Kakashi is. He knows, you know, Minato. He knows everybody. He has all the intel. They even knew things about Sasuke when they're about to fight. Or the other dude starts talking to Raikage like, oh, this is who he is. And Raikage is like, I already know that. Like, why are you telling me? Like, so he definitely has knowledge. He's aware of everybody in the world. And it would make a lot more sense to me narratively if Kushina was as fast as Minato or faster. He would probably kind of talk about her when it comes to the concept of speed and you name it. Tobirama, Minato, and Raikage are like the main ones that are normally talked about in that narrative sense. And when it comes to Kushina, like I said, she just has like a lot of anti-scaling, in my opinion, in comparison with Minato, and he's just always above. We talked about, you know, his reputation, run on sight, where basically, you know, he's able to solo and backpack wars by himself, kill thousands of shinobi. Kushina's not the one being sent on the battle lines to do all that. It's him instead. That's why he's called the Yellow Flash, while Kushina's called the Hot, you know, Head, or something. I forgot what her name was, but she has a whole different nickname, and, you know, but she doesn't really have like a legendary.
Red Hot Habanero.
Yeah. She doesn't have like a legendary reputation like Minato, with the whole, you know, savior of the world and god complex and the fastest man alive, basically, and Solo McGee, you know. So it's just not the same. If anything, she's more of like a personality title nickname, because she's very aggressive. She's similar to Sakura. She has an emotional frustration, basically. So that's why they kind of call her that. The best feat she even had in comparison as a kid as well, which you said as well, is that she only was able to beat a Genin, while Minato is arguably able to defeat either Genin, Chunin, possibly a Jonin, because it was an entire platoon from the Cloud Village that were trying to kidnap her. So, like I said, you have all that evidence. That's everything we basically discussed. The only last thing I put out there was the Naruto Road to a Ninja, where it's even showing Minato saving her. He's dealing with everything, you know, backpack in the fight. And then Kushina basically, you know, gets fucked up by a frog. He saves her. So once again, it's just further supported with the notion that he's above. And then the last thing I mentioned is the only reason why Kushina was even able to replicate that feat she did when she got in front of Minato was mainly due to Naruto as a variable. And if this is a 1v1 fight, they're fighting to death, whatever, then Naruto's clearly not going to be an aspect in that fight, and meaning she's not going to have that same mental amp that would normally initiate that feat that she did beforehand. While Minato is consistently shown to react to the Nine Tails multiple times, deal with attacks without Naruto being involved, and consistently save Naruto more than her as well, while she couldn't even do anything. And we also talked about, why I believe she could have, but she didn't, and why Ken believed she couldn't, but, and vice versa. So, like I said, that's basically the main things we discussed overall, and that was the whole component of speed, and that is my conclusion. So what's the next thing you want to do really quick, Ken, and then we can go from there.
I would like to go over AP, if that's okay.
Say that one more time? My bad.
That's fine. Sorry about that. I said I want to go over AP next.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine, bro.
This is where it gets really bad.
Okay.
No, trust me, this is going to get really bad. I'm saying this now just because I just want you to be mentally prepared for it.
All right.
And anyone who watches this.
Hey, by the way, Ken, we are already at an hour and 41 minutes.
It's okay. I blame Loki. Okay, so here's a scan, the middle one, which states that Minato's AP is on par with Naruto before he masters the Rasen Shuriken.
Mm-hmm.
Naruto, and I really should have gotten this down beforehand. Naruto beforehand, when he gets Sage Mode and all that, is just able to compare with the Nine Tails. So that would mean that this Naruto would be weaker than the one that can fight the Nine Tails. You want me to go get that, or are you willing to accept that idea?
Say that one more time, but I'm understanding you saying Minato's power rivals Naruto with his Rasen Shuriken, but I'm trying to understand what you're trying to convey though. Say that one more time.
Okay, so basically what I'm saying is this Naruto would be weaker than the one that fought the Nine Tails, meaning his Rasen Shuriken shouldn't even be like Nine Tails level, like AP wise. So I'm saying this would mean that Minato would just be right under the threshold of what would be needed to hurt the Nine Tails.
Okay. Yeah, if you're talking about the Sage Mode Naruto that fought the Nine Tails, and when he's using Rasen Shuriken or massive Raisengans compared to a fatigued Naruto fighting Kakazu with a 50% Rasen Shuriken, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, he would be weaker.
The next scan I'm posting is Karin being able to destroy the Goro Goro statue.
Mm-hmm.
This is impressive because the third Hokage, who was able to push the Nine Tails out of the village, wasn't able to do this. So this would mean that Karin would just be over the third Hokage. And then the data book below basically states that Karin can only use a glimpse of what Kushina could do with this technique. So Kushina, with each change, would be massively over the Nine Tails, which would be over Minato's AP.
Okay. So for the second scan, that's fine with Karen being to break it apart or whatever. The only problem with that is, Kushina unfortunately doesn't really have the feats to either replicate something like that. And then two, when it comes to a character having a certain ability, so for instance, Naruto can have a Rasengan, but it doesn't mean it's going to be the same as Minato's Rasengan or Jiraiya's.
Yeah.
Or Guy's dad can use the Eighth Gate, but he can only beat the legendary swordsman, not all, while Guy is scaling to 6 paths. So all because you have the same technique doesn't mean necessarily it would scale to the same degree or perform the same feat.
Oh yeah, that's what this scaling actually goes off of.
Yeah,
I'm saying he would be above Kirin based off that idea. If you look at that last data book scan as well, it also says that hers are so powerful that even the Nine Tails has problems breaking out of them. And that's further backed up with the scans I've shown early, where she's able to completely hold down the full Nine Tails while nearly dead.
Yeah, so, I understand. I'm going to refute the next scan right after, but I'm just mainly focusing on
Got
the
it.
second one. But yeah, that's the main
Oh, that's fine.
reasoning.
I just
So
figured I'd give you full context. Maybe I'll mute myself.
no, you're fine. So overall, with that, like that being said, basically is we don't know necessarily if Kushina would remotely have that same power or not. To be able to replicate that feat, that's just something that is skeptical, unfortunately, possible that we just don't know. So you have that, and I've already provided other examples of why that
Would you
could not
mind
be the
me asking
case.
you why you don't think that?
Uh, well, yeah, I explained it. Rasengan, Eighth Gate, you name it, etc., etc.
I mean, that's all. That's fair, but I was able because she is able to hold the Ninetales down with these chains, which would imply that they have power on par with it at least.
Yeah, so
So
I was
it's not like
gonna,
there's no scaling for the chains.
yeah, I was gonna get into that.
Sorry, then I'll wait
So
them.
no, you're fine. So like I said, that's just my main thing with the second stand at first. And then it's basically that's what you have. So and not only that, Karen at that moment is also mentally amped. She's trying to save Sasuke, so for all we know, she probably can't do that unless she's mentally amped. We just don't know, unfortunately. We do know mental amps can get you to absurd powers or to perform absurd feats. We've seen it millions of times. So there's that to put into consideration. So so even if like maybe Kushina could maybe replicate that feat, if she doesn't have a mental amp, then that's just not going to happen either way. Just if you connect those dots. But anyways, for the next scan, the third one, the issue with that scan in particular, I'm just gonna read it real quick just to see, make sure what it says. Yep.
Oh, it's an
Okay,
A-ring Jutsu? Oh
also,
shit. That's
Kushina
weaker than I
formed
thought.
this power never once. Yeah, okay. So, basically, yeah, when it says like the Nine Tails can't destroy them easily, so when it comes to that, like, basically, obviously, it says it right there, plain and blank. Like, he can't destroy them easily. So, like, when it comes to like destroy, like, if he was to like, fucking shoot a Biju bomb or whatever, fucking or whatnot, like that could probably be able to do it. But maybe like referring to his body, he can't do it because he's like kind of restrained, and it's kind of like a hack's ability as well. Like it basically like restrains you and whatnot, and kind of just holds the Biju down, similar to like Hashirama's wood style can like restrain you and suppress the Biju's power. That's basically their whole fucking stick. So you have those into consideration. So with that being the case, if the Nine Tails is being suppressed and weakened, that would explain why he's not able to break it. Doesn't mean necessarily she scales to his AP or to his level of power, because let's be real, the data books is data books and feats itself show what the Nine Tails can do feats wise, and Kushina has never replicated those feats. And if Kushina was had Nine Tails AP, nobody would really be able to fuck with her, basically, in a sense.
Well, to
And
be fair, Obito only comes to the village when she's in a position where he knows she can't fight back all too well.
yeah, the main reason why he does that is because he's just prioritizing exploiting that the ceiling weakens whenever the host is giving birth during childbirth. That's his whole main reason why he did that. He didn't do that
So that
because he
could
was
show
afraid of
like,
Kushina or anything.
well, I mean, I think that would show at least some fear of like what Kushina is capable of. I know that Obito should have some ideas since he did train alongside her and all that, and would be watching.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't even make sense for him to like be afraid of like how powerful the seal is, since he can break the seals of the Biju like not too hard.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But yeah, no. So with that all basically be put into consideration, once again, that wouldn't ultimately correlate her AP to the Nine Tails. Like it's just not consistently backed up, logically or objectively by the narrative. She's not performing feats where like she does her chain and like a big fucking explosion happens, like a Biju bomb, or she's over here like fighting blow for blow with Tail Beast. Like none of that's ever like insinuated or emphasized. She has the ability to restrain a Tail Beast, but not necessarily to have the AP as a Tail Beast. And then when it comes to like binding power and the whole aspect of what the Uzumaki clan can do, once again, it's to suppress them, keep them, restrained. Like for instance, like I can restrain, like let's say there's a fucking T-Rex in front of me, right? I'm over here shooting like some wires or something to kind of hold it down, and then eventually it breaks out. What does that mean? I have the same AP as a T-Rex if it was to swing its tail or bite or whatever you name it? Like no, that's not the case. So
No, real fast, because you don't mind me, because
yeah, yeah.
because the bottom one just flat out says that Kurina can only use like a portion, like a glimpse of what Kurina can do with that. Correct?
Wait, portion. What do you? Is it?
It says
you're saying?
Yeah, on the bottom, because the bottom scan I says even Kurina, who is a member of the Uzumaki
clan, you're saying it shows a glimpse of this technique?
Able to show a glimpse of this technique.
Yeah.
So this would mean that she's like so impersistent at it that she's not even like close to what Kushina could do. And we see her use them in such a way that she could strike the Goro Goro statue, which was able to stalemate Hiruzen, who can fight the Nine Tails. That's where the attack power goes. So it's not even like just she can withhold the Nine Tails with them that makes them that powerful. Is the fact that there's reasons to believe that she'd be able to strike with a similar force.
Yeah, so I understand that interpretation, but the only problem with that, the definition of glimpse is like a momentary or partial view. So it's kind of like some of the words like glance or a peek or a sight or things like that, etc. So when it comes to like a glimpse and it says that is able to show a glimpse of this technique, basically what it's saying is when Karen is using the technique, like she shows a glimpse of what it can do, but it doesn't really necessarily like indicate the whole direction of Kushina just being like way more powerful or something or anything like that. They're both Uzumaki, and they have the same ability to use the chains and bind Biju, just like Hashirama. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not, because she's using it more than just binding here. She's using it for striking. I'm not necessarily arguing that Kushina's change would be more powerful than Kurin's. I'm saying Kushina would be able to use them more effectively than Kiran can use. That's just flat out what's said. So she can, any application where Karen can use them, Kushina should be able to as well. And there's no reason to say it wouldn't. And they'd be on those like Nine Tails levels, just off that feat alone.
Gotcha. Yeah, so either way, I get like the dots you're trying to, like I say, it's not consistently narratively backed up. It's just it's not really like a inconsistency. What basically I'm trying to say is, once again, all because you can restrain something doesn't mean it would correlate to you having the AP for it as well, or anything remotely similar to that. She unfortunately doesn't have any feats also to support that notion that she can go blow for blow with the Nine Tails or anything like that. It's just mainly an ability to restrain and suppress the Biju, similar to what Hashirama's wood style can do. Hashirama does have the feats to be able to fight, and you name it. So like I said, it's just it's not really supported, that's just kind of what you have. Like, I don't really know what else to kind of say on that. What I can bring up is the whole fight with her and Naruto, just to kind of add a little bit more context to that as well, just to kind of show that she's not really on his level, because I believe it shows it pretty well that she's just helping.
Well, she was just trying to help, because she was just trying to help Naruto withstand the restrain and get the Nine Tails, not necessarily kill it. Mm-hmm. And you gotta keep in mind that was only a portion of Kushina's chakra as well. That was a small fragment. But so if you don't mind, I'm gonna step it back up, spot forward real fast, but because you brought up Hashirama's wood style and its ability to restrain the Nine Tails. Mm-hmm. Well, just like with Kushina's chains, not only can he use them to restrain, he can also use them to throw hands with the Nine Tails.
But that doesn't connect to Kushina. Like I said, it's just a suppressing ability, and he has to do things she doesn't.
But with that second, because that is Kurina using them to fight, correct?
It's just to restrain the Biju, the Nine Tails. Not if it was to fight, she would have started using it to beat him up. She would have been using as if it's a punch or a kick, and she's not doing that. Which more than likely, because if she did do that, it wouldn't do anything to the Nine Tails. So,
I'm just talking about the second scan right now with Kurina. She's using them to strike the Goro Goro statue, correct?
Yeah, but once again, the Goro Goro statue is not the Nine Tails.
No, but right now I'm more just using it as because again the scaling is that Hiruzen can fight the Nine Tails, so anything that would be relative to Hiruzen would be to the Nine Tails, and she's able to just destroy the Nine Tails. So had that been the Nine Tails, she could have penetrated it, and that there's no reason to say that Kushina, which is stated in the data books, who can use them chains similarly, ultimately I'm better than Karen, wouldn't be able to do the same thing, basically. So basically, the idea is there's nothing to say that current Kushina can't use them to strike, and there's nothing to say that that Goro isn't as powerful or relative to
yeah, I'm not saying she can't use it to strike, but it doesn't mean it would be effective or skill to the Nine Tails. That's what I'm saying. And once again, with Kieran doing like her whole mental amp thing, that was the only reason why she was remotely even able to do anything to that. And two, what's it called? Hiruzen, he's able to fight against that. Like he's doing shadow clones, he's doing all 5 chakra natures, you name it. You know, and it's an off-screen fight, so we don't really know that much of what happens. For all we know, he could have maybe chopped off an arm with his pole staff. We don't know, unfortunately. But we do.
I don't think the statue can regen, can it?
Yeah, it can, because Karen fucks it up, they shoot it, and then he's still shown later in the war to still be fighting and suppressing everyone back. And then once Madara accomplishes what he does, he states verbatim, like, oh, well, I've done what I had to do. I'm done. I won't fight anymore. And then he just stops. So, but overall, like, it's an off-screen fight. There's really not that much we can really go off. For all we know, Hiruzen could have been doing things to contend, you name it, etc. Like, we have Inoki there. Like, Inoki's particle style can most definitely probably go through that, you name it, too. Like, so like I said, like, there's a lot of things we don't really know based off that fight.
We know the 5 Kage do try and fight it, but they fail miserably.
Yeah, it's because they're extremely fatigued and nerved. Yeah.
I'm not going to say any skill for them just because of that.
Yeah. No, I know, but that's the main thing I'll really address. I'm gonna get like something to kind of solidify the fact that she doesn't really scale to the Nine Tails, like when it comes to like AP. Because once again, if she could really scale and injure the Nine Tails, she would literally just like use her chains, beat it up, and then it's just knocked out. And that's never the case. Instead, she has to like restrain it and then seal it or whatever, etc. Like if if it was that easy, she would replicate those feats or have some emphasis for it. Like for instance, like Madara, his Susanoo is stated to like rival the Biju. You know what I mean? So clearly he can be able to kind of fight and go blow for blow. Hashirama.
Would you mind holding that point for just 1 second? Because there was one more thing I wanted to address if you didn't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because you did say that Kieran was able to do that because of a mental amp. Mm-hmm. But I think the mental amp is the ability to use the chains at all. Because she's never shown using them, and she never really uses them again. So I think the mental amp.
Yeah, she didn't know the ability. Yeah, she didn't really have it unlocked yet. Like Orochimaru even states, she's finally awakened her power. So.
Yeah. So that's all I have to say on that. So you can continue with what you're saying, unless you want to refute it. But.
Yeah, no. Like all I'm saying is she was able to perform that feat due to a mental amp. She awakens the power, whatever. We don't know if her doing that without a mental amp, if it would even replicate that same feat remotely, and whether she would be forced to like restrain it, just like normally what is shown in character with Kushina with the Nine Tails. So.
Oh, are you saying she got the attack and the attack was both amped at the same time via mental amp?
Yeah, it's basically a mental amp, which is why she had the ability to like attack and go through and everybody whatnot. But either way, once again, those chains, all because it can hurt the Girigiri statue, doesn't mean it can hurt the Nine Tails. I don't see that correlation. So,
well, the correlation is it's able to fight Hiruzen, who can fight the Nine Tails.
Well, Hiruzen couldn't damage the Nine Tails either, and so that would technically be like an anti feat in a way, because he can like use his pole and enlarge it, and he's like pushing back the Nine Tails, but he's not hurting the Nine Tails. Like he's not like beating it up with a stick or anything.
Oh yeah, so, no, I'm not saying
if you scale that to each other,
say that they just have relative scaling.
Okay, yeah, because if you like scale that around to the same way, then that means which what we already know, she can restrain like the Nine Tails with like its suppress abilities and whatnot. You know, it's like hacks in a way, and use her chains and whatnot, but like doesn't mean she has like the AP as the Nine Tails or could even hurt the Nine Tails.
Yeah, no, but my feeling is basically Hiruzen should be able to fight the Nine Tails, and he can fight the Goro, but Karin can just go in and destroy the Goro, and Kushina is just stated to be more capable with the chains, which should be able to do the same thing basically.
Okay, yeah. So we've discussed that enough as it is, so there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. I don't think if you have anything more to add to that, you're more than welcome to. The only thing I was gonna get was the Nine Tails thing real quick to show what Kushina does.
That's fine. Yeah, I was actually about to address that as well, because you said that if she had that AP, she would use it to strike the Nine Tails. Mm-hmm. I think because we only see her interact with the Nine Tails like 2 other occasions, and both times are in positions where she wouldn't necessarily want to kill it. it would make no sense for her to like throw a spear through its head.
No, I'm not saying for her to kill it. I'm just saying, like, if you have enough AP to hurt a Biju, you would normally, like, why not just beat it up and knock it out and then seal it? That's a lot more easier, because it's technically more risky to just restrain a beast and then try to seal it, by getting help or whatever you name it. So, like, it's as simple as this concept. Like, if us as humans, whenever we're fighting against something or trying to bring, like, a big animal down or whatever, we have to use certain things like rope or whatever, yada yada, to like restrain or bind it. You know what I mean? But it doesn't necessarily mean we have the same AP as them. We're just simply restraining that creature. So once again, like, sure, she can restrain it and has, the unique ability to suppress the Biju's chakra, which is why it can be restrained, because if anybody else was using like chains or rope on the Ninetales, it would just shrug it off like it's nothing. Like, therefore, that's the only thing she could really do is just hold it down. Doesn't necessarily equate to AP or to be able to bypass the durability of the Ninetales. That's all I'm saying. I almost have it, by the way, Ken. This fucking whole chapter shit is like really weird. It's all like,
I know.
It's not all in like one go. It's like split apart. So I'm trying to get like each time she does shit against him.
No, I get it. If it makes you feel any better, these arguments are a lot better than the one I used against Loke when I was arguing for Kushina versus Itachi.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my scaling for her AP was like, so she was able to hurt like Naruto, Sage Naruto, and Pain was able to hurt Sage Naruto. So her punch is as powerful as the full power Shinra Tensei.
Gotcha.
And Loke just let that go through.
I think I almost... Okay, yeah, this is way fucking... Hang on.
Hello, Nobe.
What up, guys?
You? Who is this?
It's Nobe.
Oh, okay. That's how I'm not looking in Discord right now.
That's fine. I'm trying to
What
get...
happened with the tournament today?
What's up?
What happened with the tournament today? I was just curious.
No one fucking showed up.
Oh, really? Like, no one at all?
Gil and Sonic, and that's it. So, like, we got, like, half our participants, and Sonic won. Oh, that reminds me.
And this also, by the way, we're debating, so you can talk and everything, but just try to let us kind of finish this too. But this kind of supports the notion I was saying beforehand and everything. Like, once again, like, all because you can be able to restrain something or whatever momentarily doesn't mean necessarily you scale to it or you have enough AP to hurt it. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there as well. And then even before this also happens, let me do this, voila. And so that was, like I said, that was my whole argument basically is, yeah, you can restrain, great, but doesn't mean it would equate to AP. So, and we just don't know, unfortunately, for Kushina. And it's just further supported more that she has the ability to concretely restrain, but not actually have AP that correlates to the Ninetales or even bypass its durability.
That's all fine, but I mean, he breaks those tentacles relatively easily.
Yeah.
And again,
your data book thing, even like, I'm not saying like he would break it easy. Like, it says it in the data book too, and it's further shown in the manga and anime that it would take him a little bit before he can just get that shit off him, and it's nothing, because it says the Ninetales can't destroy them easily, but it does say he can destroy them. So that's what I'm saying, you know what I mean? So overall, like, all because you can restrain something or whatever doesn't mean necessarily that would equate to, your AP and you could harm or be in the level as the Ninetales, either way. That was all I was really saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, see, I don't even know if it's even fair to say, like, oh, the Dabbuk says she can destroy him. Like, he can destroy him. That's one way of looking at it, but we know, like, Kushina, like, how much of the Kushina's chakra would you say was in Naruto when this happened?
Unfortunately, Kishimoto doesn't ever give that quantification. We know it's not like, all Minato says is that he will put your chakra, I'm going to put your chakra into Naruto, so for all we know, that could be her full chakra, that could be a little bit of chakra, we just don't know. So
he said specifically, and I'm sure I could probably find this stand somewhere, but he tells her specifically, no, hold on to, because she says she's going to drag the Ninetales in.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is it right here. She says she's going to drag the Ninetales in and kill it. Meaning she has the power to force it back into her. And Minato just goes, no, save whatever chakra you have left. That way you can at least talk to him again. Implying that he has very little chakra left. So even that little bit is strong enough to restrain the Ninetales to the point where Naruto can like rip its chakra out.
Well, yeah, it's still strong enough because once again, it has like that hack's like suppress ability to like suppress Biju and whatnot. Like it's it's part of like their unique trait, which is why they have even the ability to be the best candidates as like Jinchuriki because of their unique chakra and to suppress the Ninetales. So absolutely, I'm not denying that, but like once again, even if like we say like she only had a little bit of chakra when she performs that feat or whatever. The problem with that is then that would be even worse technically because if it's less chakra, then it'd be less, strength overall, and then the Ninetales is going to break that even.
That's why it would be better because that little amount of chakra was still so powerful that it could withstand half the Ninetales with no difficulty. Like she could have a full conversation while holding the Ninetales with no like fatigue or problem to herself.
Yeah. So the problem. The problem.
So I think would be better.
Yeah. The problem with this exactly though is, she says with like the remaining chakra. With my remaining chakra could be anything. That could be middle. That could be low. That could be close to high. We just don't know. We know she's really fucked up because of having her childbirth, the Biju extraction, name it. Remember, her chakra pool is completely separate from the Ninetales. And then not only that, Minato is the only one shown to be spamming like millions of jutsus, you name it, etc. Replicating like Ninetale feats and etc. as well. Like so, like either way, like with all that put into consideration, for all I know, like she could still have full fucking chakra. Like she only does like a body flicker moment, to get in front of Naruto before he's stabbed. That's like the only time when she ever does chakra in the chains too, but that's it.
She does also create a Ninetales level barrier as well and restrains the Ninetales.
The barrier? Because I think you said that like once already. I'm pretty sure it was either Minato's barrier or it was hers, but either way, I'm pretty sure Minato says he can do the barrier himself.
No, he says the opposite. He says he can't do it.
Let me go up because I think I even posted that scan too.
I can post it overtime if you want.
Yeah, see, Minato says I've got to erect a barrier right away.
And then he says, I don't have enough chakra.
No, he says, but not much chakra left, meaning that he's getting low on chakra. It doesn't mean he can't do it. But yeah, he says that he's going to erect a barrier to kind of, keep the Ninetales in, whatever, yada yada. So all because, like he could replicate the same feat as well, which we discussed all this before. And then she says Minato, I can still do it, and then she just restrains the Ninetales. She doesn't do the barrier.
Well, that's because Minato thinks, because Kushina's in the spot where, again, she had just given birth and she technically should be dead. Mm-hmm. So Minato's in the mindset that she's so far gone that she shouldn't be able to do anything. But then she's able to surprise them by not only still restraining the Ninetales, but creating a barrier so powerful that he can't break out of, which is the point of making the barrier, is to keep the Ninetales in.
No, like, yeah. I get what you're saying, but...
And the amount of chakra needed to do that is so great.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're saying Kushina made the barrier.
She did.
But she's not shown to do that. And Minato says, I need to make the barrier. So that would be more implied of him doing the barrier. And then she says, Minato, I can still do it. And all she does is, like, grab the Ninetales with the chains. And then right after that, she says, I'm just going to take him with me and then we can die together. So what she means is she was going to bring the Ninetales in her. And then since she's already dying because the Biju got extracted, they would both die, etc. But then Minato's like, fuck that. That would disrupt the balance, blah, blah, etc., etc. And that's when he goes the whole route to do the Reaper Death Seal.
And I can go find the anime if you want it to be looking better. But if you look at the scan that I just posted, it just flat out shows that it's Kushina's chains and her chakra that's making the barrier. Like, I can find the anime scene if you want that specifically for the better, like, integrity part of it and all that, but...
What scan are you referring to?
I just reposted them again there at the bottom.
You reposted it? Okay.
Yeah, just for the sake of being easier to find.
you guys have like a
but see,
professional debate right now?
that's another thing though. Even if I was to give you the point that she can make a barrier or something as well, once again, Minato still says he can do it too, so it doesn't matter.
Well, it's so my point here is the fact that he's saying like he basically is under the impression that it's bothersome because of how much chakra it would take.
Well,
And Kushina
no,
does it while near death,
he
which
just
would imply
says.
that she's using like huge quantities of chakra that even like Minato's like, yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Well, no. It's like what, like so. We already analyzed all that context and reviewed everything. Minato is doing nothing but techniques and going through so much chakra. So if he's going through all of that, it would make sense for him to say, I only have like a little bit of chakra left. Because literally, right after he teleports to Nine Tails and the Biju Bomb, like, then he teleports away from that explosion, then gets Kushina and Naruto and teleports back to the Nine Tails and then says that statement. That's literally in chronological order. And before he says that statement, he also says, I need to emit the barrier now, implying that he can do the barrier. And then he says that I'm low on chakra, meaning that he's just low on chakra. It doesn't mean that he can't do a barrier. If he can't do a barrier, he would normally say, I can't do the barrier because, you know, I just
I'm
can't
not
do
saying
it.
he can't do the barrier. I'm saying that he thinks that the amount of chakra needed to make the barrier would be the problem.
Gotcha.
So basically, he believes it would be like a heavily taxing thing to put up that much chakra. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, we agreed that chakra would be connected to your life force, and because of how the state that she's in, she would be extremely drained on chakra. But anyway. Did you have anything else to go on for that, or? That's fine. People keep coming and going. No one wants to stay and watch. That's very disappointing. Only okay didn't have to sleep ever. I need to stop shooting a okay. I'm going to start actually seeming like I'm being mean to him. I don't mean to. I'll come back.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you guys. I didn't mean to be intrusive.
It's fine. He's just looking for something right now.
Oh, right on. You guys are having like a legit debate right now, or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right on. Kushina's an interesting character, bro. Definitely.
I like that Gil's afraid to debate any character against Kushina. I don't know why that amuses me, but it does.
Was it literally only Gil and Sonic today in the tournament?
Yeah, they're the only ones who showed up.
Oh, that's why Gil didn't win.
Giosh showed up, but like a couple of minutes past the deadline.
Alright, my bad. What's it called? My girl called me, so I was just didn't want her to fucking freak out on me because I'm not picking up the phone.
No, dude, you don't have to apologize. That's what editing's for.
But anyways, so yeah, so we went over those. That's good. The only thing I will say on that as well, just to kind of further go towards that notion. So yeah, like I think we discussed it enough with the whole AP thing and whether or not what she could do. So that's good. Now for Minato, one thing I will say, you can basically just say the same. Like he has ceiling abilities that are literally nine tails level. You know, so you can do that. You can do ceiling barriers that are nine tails level. You name it. So he has all that stuff. So, and as you know, like ceiling is kind of like a hacks thing, not really like a AP thing. So like, you know, what's it called? You could basically utilize that to just one-shot Kushina. It's like hack, seal her, whatever. He could also, like his normal Kunan AP is able to like cut the tentacles of like the 8 tails. And we know like the 8 tails is like able to do like a twister move and completely like destroy an entire fucking landscape, or it's able to tank like a Biju Bomb blast radius as well. So the fact that he can like cut through that shit like butter is pretty impressive. So like Minato also does have like, you know, AP on a level, at least, you know, concretely shown.
Wasn't that a partially transformed 8 tails?
Yeah, it was like the tail that comes out from Killer B that he cuts in half, but it's still the 8 tails tail. So like it's similar to when B does it again, like with the 9 tails as well. and even the Ninetales has like enough AP to destroy it too. So meaning that would correlate, and it's basically both of them having enough AP to cut the tentacles off.
The problem I have with that is because it's not a full transformed. Because we know that the tail beasts themselves are just chakra. So if that's not his full chakra form, then it would just be a severely weakened version via that. It just wouldn't all be there. And the Ninetales that was able to break out of it was only half the Ninetales. So it would be like nowhere near as powerful as what Kushina would be able to restrain, even if we went down that route.
Okay. So the only thing I will say on that is, like I said, it's the 8 tails tail. It's a full, like he does like B has V1, V2, and then Biju transformation. So even if it's not like the full transformation, it wouldn't necessarily mean it would be weaker or anything like that. We would have, like there would have to be some line of evidence to kind of support that notion. So he just basically does like the tail transformation, and Minato just cuts through it. You know what I mean? So you kind of have that, and then the only other thing I will say as well is, like I said, Minato has sealing abilities that also equate to the Ninetales in scaling, which that's more of hacks. So that's something like that's just a given. You have that, and then the other thing, like he could do like massive Raizengans. Like we know like it says his power can like rival like the Rising Shuriken or whatever, but for all we know, like that could be like his Rasengan or whatever, or maybe like things like that. Like, and so if it's supported under the notion that it's more likely with the Rasengan, like if he does like a massive Rasengan, or if he's outputting like a lot of fucking chakra, he's gonna be doing some pretty crazy feats to like basically do the same or similar remotely to what Naruto does to the Ninetales, to where it can kind of so like when he does Sage Mode massive Raisengans, like he's literally pinning the Ninetales down and shit. And when he throws like his Rising Shuriken, he's like pinning him down, doing some damage. So like Minato could be able to like do feats like remotely similar to that.
Well, you see, because the problem with that is I did say that I do believe that Naruto would be more powerful there than the one that was fighting Kakuzu, which is what that data book is stating against. So I don't think
that Naruto is more powerful, but Minato could be on that same level of power as well, and just basically greater with the chakra levels that he has. Like remind you, he's able to to do barriers, to deal with Ninetales attacks. He's able to cut against the 8-tail Biju, like things like that. Like he just has a lot of feats to like concretely support that notion, at least pattern wise. You know what I mean?
Would you mind if I turn an argument back on you then, if you don't mind?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because you said earlier that if you had the AP to take out a Ninetales, that tail beaster, something that it would be smarter to just attack it. So if that's the case, Minato being as smart as he is, and definitely being more mobile at the time, he should have been able to take action to just like one shot or like take out the
all
Ninetales
because you
as
have
well.
the AP to hurt the Ninetales doesn't mean necessarily you can kill it. So there's certain
like
levels of
killing it,
AP
just
to where, like,
out.
for instance, like if I get hit, you know what I mean, like by somebody and they punch me, I can probably get bruised, but it doesn't mean they're gonna kill me in one punch. You know what I mean? Like there's
I'm not saying like kill the Ninetales at one point punch. I'm saying like handle him, like knock him out. Because again, like Minato can create like shadow clones and all that, so he can like use his like Ninetales level of attacks like multiple times, like in succession.
Yeah, like I said, it's possible. Like like it's the possibility is pretty high because once again, he can just do many techniques that scales to the like full power Ninetales, while Naruto's only really doing things against like half the Ninetales, things like that. So if he's over here able to remotely scale to a full Ninetales, it's definitely arguably possible for him to be able to replicate like a Master Rising on our techniques to be able to damage the Ninetales, or maybe even potentially even like knock it out. But what we know definitively, though, concretely, is any of his sealing abilities, things like that, etc. That is, on the line. It's literally shown over and over with all the Ninetales techniques. So, you kind of have that. And if he does that on Kushina, she can't really do anything or tank that. It's just not possible. So, obviously, under the assertion if she's getting hit. I'm not saying it's, going to hit her no matter what. But I'm just saying, like, where I know we're talking about AP, which would also technically correlate to, like, durability in a sense, but...
Realistically, I think their durability should be roughly the same.
It is the same. I will agree on that. The only thing... the only thing I can say, like, for argument for Minato where it could potentially be more than Kushina is the fact that What's it called? Like, you know, when he does get hit by the claw, he's not really at full fucking power. Like, he's fully, you know,
Well,
fatigued
neither
and
of them are.
weakened. You know, but well, Kushina, like she's like fucked up with like the whole childbirth and whatnot. But like it's
Should
just
be dead.
she hasn't spammed like a crazy amount of techniques or jutsu. Like she only does
No,
one.
no, she only survived something that almost instantly kills everyone else.
Well, yeah, that's because of her Uzumaki bloodline and her unique life
I
force
mean,
chakra. It has nothing to do with her like not having like a crazy amount of chakra and still to do techniques. That's further
yeah,
proven
but
with
that
her doing the
should speak
chains.
to her
So,
durability. Like, you can't take that away from her.
well, what's it called? Not necessarily because basically what I'm saying is if she should still have like a good amount of chakra because she's not over here spamming techniques and etc. Like chakra only goes away if you are literally using jutsu or using chakra with your body. That's how you start losing chakra and stamina. So if she is not using techniques until she moves to save Naruto and then also use chains in the Nine Tails, she should obviously have a good amount of chakra in comparison to Minato, who's over here spamming Flying Raijin a crazy amount of times, body flicker, sealing teleportation barriers, transporting the Nine Tails, saving Kushina and Naruto over and over. Like it goes on and on and on. You know what I mean? So if you compare that in comparison, you know what I mean, he would have less, which meaning would basically support the notion of why his durability was the same as Kushina at that moment. So meaning if she has more chakra or she's close to having a good amount of chakra, okay, then she should technically, you know what I mean, like basically, you know, like I don't know, like it basically kind of shows and connects in a way where if she has more whatever and Minato doesn't, and that's why he got hit, but she still gets hit even with that amount of chakra, meaning therefore if he's at full power max, then, you know, like he wouldn't get hurt, you know, or necessarily or whatever. Like that's basically what the argument is. Because you can utilize chakra to kind of amp up your durability in a sense.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because we talked about that earlier. I don't. Yeah, she's not spamming jutsus on the same level.
Yeah.
But that's why I talked about like life force being connected to your chakra and all that, and the fact that she's in this state where she should be dead and just gave birth. I think that alone would have been enough to like massively drain her chakra supply anyway.
Mm.
And again, like I said, like she'd be in a similar boat of what Minato is, where she's low on chakra, and she.
Gotcha. Yeah, so
when
basically you're saying like they would both be in the same low level of chakra and therefore like they both show the same durability feat, therefore their durability should be the same.
I will say though, Kushina would be a Jinchuriki with the Nine Tails, which we do know gives you a crazy healing factor though.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think if it comes to durability, they're equal, but I think the healing factor would help her out.
Gotcha. But
obviously not.
We basically talked about you know, AP and their abilities basically in a sense with Minato and Kushina. We've already discussed speed. I think that's really the most only important thing, unless you have anything else, Ken. But
we could go into the idea of like, because one of the things we could do if you wanted was talk like if they were to go into like their plus forms, like Sage mode Minato versus a theoretical KCM push. A theoretical KCM Kushina, because I think there is an argument to be made for her to be able to get it. If you're not okay with arguing for Kushina having KCM, then I think we should just go to conclusions then and not worry about a plus one.
That's kind of like a whole other thing. Like we could add it, but this debate's already like at 2 hours and 24 minutes.
No, that's fine. I'll just talk to you about it later then.
No, I'm not gonna like force you. Oh no, you can't fight. So if you want to, like you have every right in this debate. That I can't take that away from you, but that's up to you.
No, it's fine. Let's keep
that could always be like a separate thing or something.
We want to talk about it later. We can.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, you're fine. But you know, like I'm down just to go to conclusions to kind of end it here, and you know, if that's always something we could always discuss at another time. You know, like Minato in Sage mode and her made with a hypothetical, I don't know, KCM1 or something, whatever, I don't know.
I would say KCM1, but yeah, let's. You want to conclude first, or do you want me to?
You go. I concluded last time.
I concluded first last time, at least on speed. So.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. So fuck it, I'll go then. So in conclusion, Basically, I believe that Minato should be like faster overall with everything we discussed and everything. I do believe Minato should has like a higher possibility to have some AP relevant to hurt like someone like the Nine Tails. You know, potentially not really necessarily kill it, but to at least damage the Nine Tails. You know what I mean? And we clearly know that like Kushina couldn't tank really anything from the Nine Tails. So like if he would have hit or Kunai or Rising On or even Massive, you know, Rising On, which a Sage Art Massive Rising On's like kind of stated to even carve him out and everything, you know, in the data books. But I didn't mention that, so it's irrelevant. I'm just saying. But anyways, you know, so we kind of discussed like the whole AP thing. We discussed how all that works. I did talk about like you know his ceiling, you know, abilities like his ceiling barriers can match the Nine Tails, and you know it's basically hacks. It can you know doesn't really matter what you know your durability is or whatever. Like it just can take it and then just get rid of whatever and you name it. So we kind of discussed all those things. We discussed like what Kushina's AP and what his scaling was and thought process, and you know basically me kind of refuting those and going like everything point by point. We talked like comparison, you know, Karen and her and why that doesn't really work or connect or et cetera, et cetera. I don't have a good enough memory to remember exactly everything went into detail. Otherwise I would, but that was mainly the main basis of it. And just like I said, I feel like Minato has the you know better AP or better at least you know ceiling hacks, which you know obviously there's just nothing she could do with that regardless. And then like I said with the whole speed thing, we talked about all the semantics, we talked about all the context with the whole Obito fight, you name it. I believe I did get those points or whatever, and when the whole notion of scaling for speed, we you know talked about the whole Raikage thing, you name it, them as kids, them during in the wars and in Naruto in comparison, and then them even in the Naruto Road to Ninja movie, like all those comparisons narratively, etc., you name it. So that's basically it, and therefore if he's faster and has like crazy hacks on Ninetales level or AP remotely to the Ninetales, you know, similar in a way, then he should just be able to speed blitz one shot and she's dead, just like what he normally always does to anybody, which is why he's called the Yellow Flash. Run on sight, bitches. Yeah, no, that's all. I don't fucking know. I'm just saying shit. But go ahead, Ken, whenever you're ready.
So I think realistically, I got the speed point. I think I was able to prove that Kushina was able to react and get and move in a within a further distance within a quick amount of time under worse circumstances. Yes, Minato was proven to be like heavily fatigued and like low on chakra, but I think I proved that Kushina would have been in the same boat. Plus, should have been dead at least one time over, which would have severely handicapped her more. We also went over the AP, where I proved that Kushina could use the chains for more than just their sealing capabilities, because Kurina could use them to strike people, and it's stated verbatim in the data book that she can only use them at a glimpse of the same level what Kushina could, meaning she'd be able to use them to strike as well. And she was able to use those chains to fight beings that could fight like 9-tail level opponents. So these chains should be able to hurt like 9-tail level combatants not too badly. We also went over durability as well. We both agreed that they would have like similar levels of a durability, if I remember correctly. But Kushina would have a healing factor with the 9-tails, which would mean that if it came down to a straight fist fight or something like that, she would win just via being able to out-heal him. So I think I was able to prove that Kushina should be able to outspeed and one-shot Minato with her chains, and even if she doesn't, she could outlive and still take him out with no difficulty. That's my conclusion.
Alrighty. What's it called?
She actually did have a title as well. She was known alongside with Minato as the Orange Hokage.
Gotcha.
Which is supposed to be like because that's what Naruto's supposed to be, because his main color is orange, so it's just supposed to be like he's yellow, she's red, so together they make Naruto.
Yeah. No, I feel you, man. What's it called? But alright, what's it called? That'll basically be it, guys. You guys let us know down in the comments down below. Like I said, make sure to check out his YouTube. It'll be in the link in the description down below. I'll make sure to put his account on there if you like what you see or anything. Or just, you know, like I said, just to support, nothing but love. Everybody needs it. You know, make sure to follow, subscribe, you name it. And then, as always, comment down. Let us know who you think you won. You know, and just kind of go from there. Obviously, majority in the Naruto community will most likely side with Minato. But yeah, so, and Ken is just mainly doing this like for a certain line of scaling. Like it's kind of like a ratty line of scaling, like arguments wise. Like it's not bad arguments either. It's kind of similar to like the Coxie versus Pain shit. I don't like. I'm pretty sure you said this, Ken, but like you don't believe that Kushina actually beats Minato, right? Or like, do you? Like, it's okay if you do.
Outside of the debate?
Yeah, like legitimately.
No, Minato stomps back.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Okay.
I was pushing her stats to the maximum.
Yeah.
But realistically, I think they're more outliers, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just putting, and there you go, guys. There's your answer. So don't be like hating on him for it or shit on him, blah blah. Like he doesn't even believe in it. You know what I mean? Name it. Like I said, use some common sense, be calm and collective, analyze what everything that's being said. You know, and
this is just
it's a debate.
For my ability to get.
Yeah, it's just his ability to like debate and improve overall. Vice versa. Like that's all it is. So focus on the debate, not on the actual like who would actually win. You know what I mean? Don't let that cloud your judgment or make you biased or anything like that. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video for you guys. Sorry for it being so fucking long. I really didn't think it was gonna be this long. Time just goes by so fucking quick. So I do really apologize for that. But either way, it was it was good. That's why it was long. We took everything point by point, analyzed everything, and no matter what, let's be real. If somebody is using like ratty scaling or things that could be able to work or make logical sense in a way, especially if it's conveyed correctly, let's be real, it's gonna be a long debate. It's going to, because you're gonna have to literally nitpick and attack all that stuff and try to either show the inconsistencies or the anti-scaling of it, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's why it can be so long or be so contentious. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video, comment, subscribe as well. If you fuck with my content or anything, hit that sub button. Peace.